Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
Got the wrong guy. The dog was biting him.
He roughened him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
9 out of 10 judges prefer watching the Recovery Addict live stream in their courtroom.
The fireworks are not done.
That would be a commentary on the case.
Yeah, correct.
Not him, he's the Anglican boy. He's terrible blood.
That's literally not true.
Oh, for crumb's sake. I didn't ask you to interrupt me.
Alrighty, just had to get a little bit of business done there. Welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict. Thank you very much for coming back. And after our short break, it is good to be back. I'd like to welcome a big welcome to Pickles and Zoe the cat. Pickles the dog and Zoe the cat. Welcome, Pickles and Zoe. I will tell you that the Kimar won the internet, but under the rules of the internet winnership, it is allowed to be regifted one time, exactly one time, and now it is yours because it was regifted to you. And if you don't want it, unfortunately, too bad. You cannot regift it. This is not Burger King. You don't get it your way. So we're going to go ahead and pin you up there. Pickles and Zoe, great to have you here and chat again with us. Good to see you here. Thank you so much. We're sentencing you to internet ownership. So you might think, what a great honor. Really, it's a lot of work, and it's all falling on your shoulders. So in addition to everything else you have going today, you also have to take care of everybody who has internet problems worldwide. Make it happen. Make it great for the rest of us. Pickles and Zoe, thank you so much. Good to have you here. All right. That being said, we are getting ready.
People do not get to have it their way.
No, they don't. We're getting ready to go to court here in Arizona. Soon. It should start in just a few minutes. Hang on. Just checking out what Judge Wolf is doing. All right. Oh man, I was swinging a hammer upstairs, a sledgehammer, because I found some more pieces that should not be there in the bathroom. Chair rail has to go. A little trim around a window needs to go. All that. So yes, I've been doing that just a wee bit. Let's see, my phone is going nuts here. Let's see. Oh, okay. All right. There's a spreadsheet with birthdays and anniversaries. Wow. This is a huge undertaking, a massive undertaking. Hopefully it's all legal. It's not like HIPAA protected or something like that. Don't share your birth year, maybe just the day is all. So, all right. Gaily May says, no way I would want the internet. You say that now, but it'll happen. It'll happen on accident. You'll be like, hey, how's everybody doing? Then you'll realize you're the first in chat. Judy says, have you considered dynamite? Tempting. There was a time when I was researching what it would take to get a license. I was interested in mining at the time, so just so I don't get any weird stories spun up about me. I was interested in mining and went and looked into what it would take to get permits to blow things up out in the desert. Mostly rocks. All right, we are watching for activity from court, which we do not have yet. That's all good. It will come in due time. That's all right. Let's see. Where are we? Right here. What's my preview? I have nothing. Let's go here. Boom. Big update. $3.5 million in interest. The Klowski v. J. Hatch judgment interest counter. Just thought I'd give you that update right now. So that puts them at almost $212 million for the total. So yay there. Okay, so let's see. Anything else we have to do? If the pool feed operator is on time, right? We've got our fingers crossed because apparently they don't work mornings. I mean, this is already Arizona, where they start halfway through the day for the rest of us. And now, do you wear work clothes for construction work? I wore these for construction work. I was just going to pick up a few things, and then I started swinging the hammer, and it's like, well, it's good. So, plus I just did not have time. If I was going to change and then get all set up for work and then change and come back, there would be no live stream today. Angela says, it took me 5 minutes to make that spreadsheet. Okay, now you need to put everyone's names on it, Angela. That's the big part. So if you can just get everyone, you'll have to go back and watch all the past live streams to get all the birthdays. And so if you could do that maybe this weekend, Angela, that would be great. Not sure about P. Diddy. Obviously, it's early on in the investigation there, but we'll keep an eye on that. Let's see. All this time, you still mispronounce Kowalski's name. Yes. Yes. Why did I say it wrong? I've said Kowalski forever. I say color wrong too, apparently. Did he wear safety glasses? No, I didn't. I just blinked before anything hit me in the eye. That's my built-in safety mechanism. All right. My birthday's next week, and I didn't say anything last year. Paula Mack, you've learned your lesson. Let's see. Let's get ready for court here. Let me get all the feeds. There's our Google Earth. Let's pull this one up here. Shrink that down. Wait for everything. It's all working slowly. Okay. Nothing there yet. Of course, they're probably going to be late again today. What we could do, just briefly, if you guys are interested, is watch what we missed yesterday morning while we wait for them to pull up the live trial. Let's see. Yesterday morning, let's bring this up on channel 7. The view is not the best because this is a Zoom view from court, but we're gonna pull up just the intro to court yesterday, and I'd let you watch and listen to that. The coloring isn't the best either. I mean, this is painful, and the words on the screen. Who thought this would be a good idea? Honestly, let's see. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. This is what I'm talking about. This is the court feed, direct from their Zoom, which we're going to give a quick listen to. Right here. So everyone's standing for court. We just want to get the intro that the cameraman missed, because we had that as soon as our live feed started from the pool photographer. You might see the pool photographer coming in, running in the door, actually, as a matter of fact, in the double doors, right in the sort of the middle of the screen, bottom right-hand corner. The walls are white, says Stevie. Yes, the walls are white. Hopefully a photographer that is able to do a white balance will be able to notice that.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Please be seated.
This was yesterday, just for the record.
We're on the record in case number 2023-026, State of Arizona versus George Allen Kelly. The record will show the presence of all counsel and the defendant and all of the jurors.
This is yesterday's
Ladies and gentlemen,
yesterday's
I'm now
trial.
going to give you some preliminary jury instructions.
We're going to skip those.
You should all have a copy of that was provided in your notebook. You're welcome to follow along as I read them.
We're not going to do that. We're going to skip along to where a witness comes up on the stand. Let's see. So we've got about half an hour of instructions. Oh, wait, what's this? This opening statements? I think this is opening statements. Hang on one second.
This is a photograph of the
Yeah,
semi-automatic
I started opening statements. We're not
assault
going to
rifle,
play this one.
AK-47.
Let me skip.
That George Allen Kelly shot and killed Gabriel Cuen Buitimea with on January 30th.
What am I missing? There's a buffer sound. Okay, good. Let me go back. This court, by the way, Santa Cruz, Arizona Superior Court, this is their YouTube channel, and they have a lot of courts available. You might have to watch this. We're looking for day 2 morning. There we go. Day 2 in the morning. And let's see, witness comes in. He's taking the oath right there, so we're going to back up right here.
Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. Back on the record in case number CR 2023-02026, State versus George Allen Kelly. The record will show the presence of all the jurors, counsel, and the defendant, and the state can call its first witness.
Your Honor, the government's going to call Officer Captain.
I just want to watch until the news cameraman comes in. So this was yesterday morning. Our cameras missed this briefly.
Good morning, sir. Step forward to the clerk and get sworn in, please.
That one bailiff has an incredible mustache.
Thank you, sir. Witness, stand over here. Hold that microphone. Whenever you're ready.
Good morning, Officer Captain.
Good morning.
Can you just briefly introduce yourself to the jury? Say your name and spell your name and what agency you work with.
Yes, I'm Sergeant Stephen Cafton. I'm a sworn sergeant for the State of Arizona Department of Public Safety. I've been a sworn peace officer for the State of Arizona for 25 and a half years.
In that 25 and a half years with Department of Public Safety, may I say DPS?
Yes.
With DPS, have you provided assistance to sister agencies like the Sheriff's Department and other jurisdictions before?
Yes, part of our mission at the Department of Public Safety is an assist agency helping other agencies with whatever services we can provide.
It's interesting.
In fact, you did that same thing in this case, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Let's talk about what you did in this case. Can you briefly describe to the jury, you did a 3D scan in this case, correct?
Yes, that's correct. One of the things that I've been trained on by the department is the use of terrestrial laser scanners.
We're going to pause this now because I think we've got a live feed.
Basically, it's a system.
I think we've got a live feed. Let's listen in.
With Agent Marcel, checkpoint and port of entry, so that the inquiry is explain what those two things are. So we have a witness who will be coming up to explain that.
Let's see if we've got another feed. Our main feed's not available yet. Hold on.
And that's why I'm not sure. I'm kind of thinking maybe the question has something to do with what's the legal significance of explaining what happens if the two people. I'm not really sure.
I mean, if you just take what is being asked, they ask for clarification of the difference in definition. So I think we should, as suggested by the state, to get those two things clarified, what's the difference, and then see if another question comes from that. That would be my recommendation to the court.
Yeah, I mean, you can clarify it, but it sounds like the person knows what it is. We might ask the juror to clarify their question. So, all right, we'll just deal with it. Then my judicial assistant communicated to me the state would have a request regarding testimony of DRR. What is DRR? Is that right? So is DRR going to testify?
Daniel Ramirez is going to be testifying first this morning. And the issue the state wants to address with the court is his image being uploaded for mass consumption to the public. And so he is a victim.
First question I have is, why are we hearing this a minute before this guy's going to testify?
No, we're just concerned about his image.
I know, why are you raising it now? I'm ready to bring the jury in at 6:35.
We're just bringing a concern about his image being broadcasted. We just want to address the court. And so if the court doesn't grant the issue for us, we live with it. If the court does say the victim's image will not be uploaded and the camera can't pan over to the victim.
So what is the request?
Not to upload the victim's image.
For what reason?
For security reasons.
Okay, that's
vague.
What's the security concern?
Well, obviously, Your Honor, he is a victim of a high profile case. He travels back and forth through port of entry, where his identity will be now known both on this side and also on the Mexican side. So
we're now on to this is this morning. This is happening right now.
To the world, and so that's what our concern is for his security. So we're bringing it up because he's concerned about it, and so we want to make sure we address that with the court prior to him testifying.
Is the defense in any position?
Yes, Judge, we believe these proceedings should be public. We're all here. It's obviously a high-profile case. There is no specifically articulated security concern other than this is an alleged victim in a high-profile case. Frankly, I don't see what the danger is. Nobody knows where this person lives. Nobody knows when he's coming across. The only time he comes across to come to court, he's escorted by law enforcement. So I don't see any safety concern, and we object to any part of these proceedings being closed to the public. And I think not allowing people to see this witness is essentially closing this to the public.
You know, this is the kind of thing that I have to look at and consider and bring it up the minute before the gentleman's supposed to testify does not allow me to do that. I understand the concerns for his safety, but this is something that I need to look at. So, you know, is there any alternative? Does he have to go first? Because I don't have any opportunity to look at the law.
The government just wanted to present this to you, his concern for his safety, and so we're fine proceeding as is. I just want to bring it to the court's attention. The court is reluctant to rule on it because it's in the moment decision. The state's ready to proceed with him as the first witness. I just want to bring that up to the court's attention. We appreciate that this is a in the moment decision. We appreciate that, and we'll live with it. This is a victim who expressed that concern for us. So
when did he express that concern?
This morning for us.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm sorry. This is nuts.
All right, let's take a 5-minute recess.
This is crazy. The judge is frustrated. Literally, the jury's about to walk through the door. I mean, the judge just walks through the door and walks past the jury. I mean, we are ready for court to begin. He's saying, "Who's your first witness?" And he says, "By the way, my witness doesn't want to be on camera, Judge. He's the witness who says that he was there at the time and saw this whole thing go down, and now he'd like his picture not to be shown." He's concerned from his security, and he first brought this up to us now. Like I was this many minutes old when I first learned of this concern. So this is back to live. This is happening this morning. Court was supposed to begin. Judge has now called a break. I realize we don't have the counter on the screen. I'll get it up here in just a minute. Let's see if we can get some of our other feeds going, because our regular feeds aren't ready yet. 5-minute break for the judge to consider this.
Okay. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Not on my bingo card. I tell you, this case is a sleeper. It's creeping up on us, and it has some interesting things happening in it. The concerns the judge has, the court. This court is an open court. Typically, the court itself, even though this is being broadcast, the court itself records all the proceedings and posts them online. And so now we've got this one witness who's saying, "Oh, I just don't want my picture shown for security reasons." Is there an articulatable security threat? Is he worried that he's? My concern is not something in the U.S. so much as maybe possibly cartel related, but he's not testifying against the cartel. Is he just worried that his image will be tarnished and he'll be identified as somebody who helped the U.S. government, and that is a problem? He's a Beautiful Waterfall. He is a victim. He's saying he was there and he was shot at as well. One of the assault charges is against him. You're correct. One of the two charges against the defendant is against this witness. And that does give him some standing there in this case, but he's not a juvenile. I don't know. I don't know. Right to privacy as a subpoena witness? No. As a matter of fact, the right mostly is present on the side of the defendant, where they have the right to face their accuser. They shouldn't, they should have the right to face their accuser, and granted, he'll be able to do that even if we can't see it. But I think they might need a little more of an articulable threat than he's just concerned about security, where he's already getting ushered, literally escorted across the border because he's not a U.S. citizen. They're bringing him across the border, and they've had to he's got a special pass to allow him to come and testify. This is crazy, and the judge is rightfully a little frustrated. He's like, why am I hearing about this now? You need to catch up. We've had 1 day of testimony so far, and then about 7 years worth of opening statements. Opening statements spoiled everything. They literally covered every single bit of testimony that would happen in this court. So it was very slow because it was one person droning on and on about it for each side. But I think you could catch up pretty quickly. This court operates for about 5 hours a day, by the way. 5, maybe 6, because they take long breaks, they start late, and they end early. And they only work 5 days a week. Could he decide not to testify? He could, but Martha, here's the deal, and maybe this may come out in trial and it may not. The U.S. has a special program for people who cooperate with the government and testify against people. Okay, it's a cooperating witness agreement that often includes a green card for the witness and their family, which means you jump to the head of the line, you get granted immigration status, and you can now live here. It's a huge award. It's a huge prize. And that probably has a lot to do with why there were so many people who volunteered information who had nothing to do with this case. And as they tried to talk their way into being a witness, we found out that they didn't know anything about it. They have to cooperate, either a U visa or a T visa. So yeah, it's a big deal. It could be a huge thing for his family, but you have to look at his testimony at the same time and say, what is this witness receiving in return for their testimony, and is the jury informed of that?
Yeah, the Wi-Fi. Sorry.
This water is good. Let's see what the judge is probably consulting a couple books really quickly, just to see what he should do. I think this gets shot down. I really do. It's not really a witness protection deal so much as it's a cooperation deal where in return you get access to living and working in the United States with your family as well. Can't be compelled to testify since he's not a U.S. citizen. This witness is going to testify that a horse got shot and killed in this interaction, even though there was not a dead horse found. The only horse that was there was still alive and well afterwards. Charge should be dropped if he won't testify. He's the star witness, Judy, 100%. If without this witness, if he refuses to walk in through those doors and says, you know what, the deal is good, but if my face is shown, I don't want to do it, they have nothing. believe this is Daniel, yes, who was a relative of Gabriel, and who, according to his testimony, is going to tell us, if he testifies on the stand, that he was there at the time that Gabriel was shot, and he witnessed this, and he's going to explain quite a bit about what he saw and where it happened. And we may have a translator involved in this as well. Beautiful waterfall. The problem they have is he's given a deposition prior to this, which has some things on here that I'm sure he's going to be cross-examined on. Things that he got wrong in his deposition, and either the police corrected during translation. Yes, you heard that right, during translation. Or that they just glossed over and ruled it as just, oh, it was a misunderstanding. I want to hear what the judge says here. So yeah, it got spicy really quickly this morning. I told you this one. It was a sleeper at the beginning, but it's going to get good. And look at this. The walls are white. The walls are white. I mean, what more could you ask on a day like today? Let's see. Well, it would help if we got our other feed up. This trial, I just got a text. This trial is supposed to be about 2 to 3 weeks. But not sure if it's going to take that full time or not. I think what's most interesting to me about this argument from the state is their nonchalance to launch. They're just like, we don't care either way, Judge. We're just bringing it up because he said this. Like, he asked us to do this, and then they're acting surprised that the judge is like, why didn't we know this, say, 4 months ago, when I was making the media order, or why do we know about this, 2 weeks ago when we were setting up the cameras for the live feed and going over all that? Why are we just hearing about this now that we have a witness, a star witness, the star witness in this case for the state, that has, has a zero desire to have his image shown on the screen? Bob, this is not day 5. This is actually day 2 of testimony. We've just had many parts. So I've got part 1, 2, 3, 4. I think this one's part 5, which is day 2 a.m. of trial. So you've only missed 1 day of testimony thus far. Angela, it's possible that he's worried about retribution from either somebody in Mexico or from somebody here in the U.S. Now, the cartel, if the cartel was involved, I can see that being a threat. But the whole argument from the state is that they're not involved, and he's not going to testify that they were. He's testifying that a U.S. citizen shot a non-citizen for no reason. That's going to be his testimony. That they were possibly trespassing, but that's, there's no threat to the cartel there. He's not outing somebody. He's not, reporting, something that would make them look bad or expose their operation somewhere. I keep missing your question. Let's see. SF, let me see if I can find it here. I'm not seeing it. Okay, so what just happened, Franco, is the judge called everyone to order. They sat down and said, okay, ready to call your next witness. And they said, there's one issue. Our witness doesn't want to be on camera. And the judge says, why now? Why are you telling me this now? The defense has objected to any part of this trial being closed. They want all of this public.
We're going to have this link be available for both parties. Because you guys need to have a connection available. We've got this.
This is tech support.
Guest network, but that will kick you out after a certain time. You got to accept terms and you got to be doing that. This one, personal. Oh,
She's giving out the Wi-Fi password.
I thought the Wi-Fi wasn't had a password and everything.
that's the Wi-Fi, yeah. The guest doesn't have a password, but it has a agreement. You got to accept the password.
What number do I put in?
She's giving out the Wi-Fi password for the courtroom. So the guest network kicks you off after a certain amount of time. And you have to re-log on and agree to the terms. It expires. The lease of your IP expires. And they're saying if you use this other one, it won't kick you off. So you won't have problems. Password 123 is the password. It's admin for the username and password 123 for the password. There we go. Or admin and no password. We have at least 2 tech support personnel in court. My son just built a radio, like from components. I kid you not. Like a tunable radio out of scrap pieces. He's like copper wire. Should I be worried? Got a little MacGyver. Think the judge will reprimand to the prosecution? I don't know, because this changes the whole setup of the court with the Zoom. This will be a little tricky. Wonder where he got his talent from. The state doesn't care either way. The state, honestly, the state doesn't care about this witness. Okay? The state cares about what the witness is going to say more than they care about this witness. They're not in here saying, we have concerns for his safety. We were worried, you know, we want him to be protected. Okay, so the dude that just walked back and forth there, also tech support, he's holding a MiFi wireless hotspot. And that's what they're giving out to the lawyers to have uninterrupted access. It's the same one. Let's see what the judge says here.
On the record show the presence of counsel and the defendant, and the jury is absent. So,
that's a Starbucks mug.
The issue really breaks down to the court performing a balancing test, balancing the privacy and security interests of the victim, trying to evaluate that and weigh that against the public's right to know, to view, and to observe the proceedings. This is an open proceeding. I mean, anyone from the public can come in and sit here and watch the witness testify. Obviously, the witness is not going to be obscured in any way as he's testifying here in open court. That's because the jury has to be able to see his face as he's testifying, because that's part of the way that the jury evaluates credibility. So anyone can come into court and watch the gentleman testify and see his face in person. But obviously, then recording it, streaming it live, and making it available for posterity to whoever wants to see it is quantitatively different. But I need to have an assessment of what the actual security risks are to this witness. I think a generalized statement that he's concerned for his security isn't going to do it, particularly in the context of I'm just learning about this at the point in time when the gentleman wants to testify. Has anything happened to him? And this case has been pending for over a year now, well over a year. I mean, has anything happened to him during the 15 months or so that this case has been pending? He's also been identified as a witness, and his identity is known as a public record. Has anything gone on that gives him any particular concerns that you can articulate as to the safety?
No, Your Honor.
Hasn't received any threats from anyone?
Not that's been expressed to the government, Your Honor. Nothing specific. It was his demeanor and his want to have be as obscure as possible. We're conveying that because he feels like there is a security risk, and it's our duty to inform the court of his concerns. That's what we did.
I understand, but has he articulated to you anything beyond that, any specific reasons why he has concern for his safety?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Well then, given that, you know, balance that versus his identity is known, it's not a secret. Any member of the public can come in here and see him. I'm not hearing any articulated specific security risks or dangers that the witness is able to express. It's a matter with the court's discretion. He's a Mexican citizen, and if he's over in Mexico and something happens, or if he has any concerns for his safety or security, that's the Mexican government's obligation to provide protection for him. So the request is denied. The court finds that the interests of the public, the right to know, observe, to view these proceedings is very important. It's how the public evaluates the fairness and due process that's being afforded to all parties. So the request will be denied, and his image will be allowed to be projected. All right, let's bring in the jury.
Bring the jury. Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. That was a fair balance test. I think the judge, had there been an articulatable threat that was specific to this situation, I think the judge would have ruled the other way. I think it was open to that. But in doing the balancing test, the preponderant, the weight falls on openness, right? Unless there's a good reason to close it, the weight always tips to the open side, especially in Arizona. So we are going to see the witness. Yeah, jury's going to come in now. The jury doesn't know anything about this. This is Judge the Honorable Thomas Fink, as you see on his desk there. Thomas Fink. This is the friend that was with him, and I think we've got translator. We'll have translators working here, so it's going to be a little bit awkward, but it's very, very important. This is some stuff we want to listen to.
All right, good morning, everyone. Please be seated. The record shows that of all the jurors. Good morning again. We started a little late this morning. We've been in court with the lawyers since 8:30, dealing with a legal issue, so we did your work. We do have one question from one of the jurors, it's juror number 3. It's concerning seeking the clarification of the difference between a checkpoint and a port of entry. I discussed it with the lawyers. Here again, the lawyers tell me there are additional witnesses that will be present here in court who can really testify to that and explain that difference. But I want to be sure, is that you? No, you're the new juror. I want to be sure I understand the question, or are you interested in more of an explanation of like if there's a legal significance difference?
Not really, Your Honor, but
Can't get the counter
one of the attorneys was making reference to the checkpoint.
There it is.
To me, the checkpoint, the border patrol checkpoint is located on the highway. And that was slightly confusing to me. I believe she meant the international port of entry that the Concini, and was using the word.
I know what you're referring to, and I think I actually caught that myself. If we're thinking about the same thing. And I think we are. I think the witness just inverted the two things in their testimony, because I actually remember that specifically also. I think the witness said one when the witness actually meant to say the other. But we will have additional witnesses here, and if it's appropriate, you want to ask another question on that point, please do so. That's fine. Thank you for bringing that up. I'll give this question to clerk for filing. We'll make that question number 1 to Mrs. Stacy. All right, let's take the call next witness.
The government's going to call Daniel Ramirez.
And here comes Daniel.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in the matter before the court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes. Sir, if you come over here, please, and have a seat.
He's wearing translation headphones backwards, so he's hearing left and right and right and left.
So the head, just so you know, so there's no misunderstanding, court interpreter tells me these headphones are what the witness is wearing, so you can better hear the translations from English to Spanish. That's all it is. Okay. Whenever you're ready.
Good morning.
Good morning.
May I call you Daniel?
Sí. Yes.
For the record, though, can you state your whole name for us?
Y para que conste en el acta, ¿me puede dar su nombre completo, por favor? Daniel Alberto Ramírez. Daniel Alberto Ramírez.
She needs a mic. The translator needs a mic.
Can you spell the last names for the record?
Y me puede deletrear, por favor, sus apellidos.
R. Varela. B.
R.B. Varela.
That's fine. I think we're okay with that. Let me walk the jury through a little bit about who you are.
Le voy a explicar tantito al jurado un poco sobre usted, sobre quién es usted.
Is that okay?
¿Está bien? Sí. Yes.
Just for the record, you've never testified other than a previous hearing in this case. This is first time in front of a jury.
Y nomás para aclarar una cosa, usted nunca ha testificado antes, excepto en una otra audiencia anterior a esa, pero usted nunca ha estado testificando frente a un jurado.
No.
No.
A little nervous?
¿Está un poquito nervioso?
No estoy.
No, I'm fine.
Okay. Let's talk about, Daniel, how old are you?
Vamos a ver, Daniel, ¿qué edad tienes?
43.
43?
43. Where are you from, Daniel?
Daniel, ¿de dónde eres?
De Honduras.
I am from Honduras.
Is that where you were born?
¿Es donde usted nació?
Sí.
I'm going to work on the audio.
And how long did you live in Honduras?
¿Cuánto tiempo vivió usted en Honduras?
13 años.
13 years.
13 years. And where'd you go after living in Honduras?
Y después de vivir en Honduras, ¿a dónde se fue usted?
A México.
To Mexico.
And why'd you go to Mexico?
¿Y a qué fue a México?
Buscando el sueño americano.
Looking for the American dream.
So your hope was to go to Mexico and then go to the United States?
Entonces lo que usted pretendía era ir a México para después ir a los Estados Unidos.
Sí.
Yes?
What's so good about the United States versus Honduras or Mexico?
¿Por qué es mejor en los Estados Unidos o México que Honduras?
Porque la pobreza en Honduras es muy baja y no hay trabajo.
Because of poverty and there's not a lot of work in Honduras like there is here.
Pottery?
You mentioned it. You mentioned poverty. Are you a man of resources? Do you have money?
Usted menciona la pobreza. ¿Usted es un hombre con dinero? ¿Tiene dinero?
Poverty.
No.
Do you have any land?
¿Tiene tierra?
No.
No.
Any cars?
¿Carro?
No.
No.
Jewelry?
¿Joyería? No.
Where do you currently live in Mexico?
¿Dónde vive usted ahorita en México?
No, I'm sorry, I mean,
In the village of Mascareña.
and don't give me the address, but is it a home? What kind of place do you live in?
No necesito que me dé el domicilio, nomás dígame qué tipo de casa. ¿Es una casa?
Un rancho.
It's a ranch.
Do you have any family?
¿Tiene familia?
En Honduras.
In Honduras.
Is it a wife, significant other, partner?
Esposa.
Significant other.
Nena. No.
No. Do you have any kids?
¿Tiene hijo?
No.
No.
Your parents and brothers and sisters?
Sus padres, hermanos, hermanas.
Hermanas y mi mamá.
Sisters and my mother.
How many sisters do you have?
¿Cuántas hermanas tiene?
3.
3.
Was it your hope to work in the United States to send money back to family?
Lo que usted esperaba al trabajar en los Estados Unidos era poderle mandar dinero a su familia.
Sí.
Yeah.
Daniel, right up front with you. Do you work for a drug organization?
Daniel, voy a ser muy directo con usted. Usted trabaja para una organización de drogas.
No.
No.
Do you work for the cartel?
¿Usted trabaja para algún cartel?
No.
No.
Do you work to help smuggle guns or drugs into the United States?
¿Usted trabaja para contrabandear armas o drogas a los Estados Unidos?
No.
No.
In this instance, this incident happened last year, January of last year. Correct?
Este incidente sucedió el año pasado, en enero del año pasado, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Yes.
This wasn't the first time you tried to come to the United States, is it?
Pero esa no fue la primera vez que usted intentó cruzar a los Estados Unidos, ¿verdad?
No.
No.
How many times have you tried to come into the United States for what you call the American dream? How many times?
¿Cuántas veces ha intentado cruzar usted a los Estados Unidos para conseguir lo que usted llama el sueño americano?
Yo 8 a 10 veces.
From 8 to 10 times?
So several times.
Varias veces.
Sí.
Yes.
And each time, were you successful?
Y cada una de las veces usted tuvo éxito.
No.
¿No?
Why weren't you successful?
¿Por qué no tuvo éxito?
Porque siempre me agarraban.
Because they always caught me.
Who's the word they?
¿Quiénes me agarraban?
Migración.
Immigration.
U.S. immigration?
Migración americana.
Sí.
Yes.
And when you crossed, or did you have to pay anything to cross into the United States?
Y para cruzar usted tenía que pagar dinero para que lo cruzaran
Sí.
a los Estados Unidos.
Sí.
Yes.
We call that would be fair to say a crossing fee?
Es justo decir que es así como la cuota para cruzar.
Sí.
Yes.
And do you know approximately how much money you paid as a crossing fee?
¿Y sabe usted aproximadamente la cantidad de dinero que usted pagó como la cuota de cruzada?
Sí.
Yes.
Well, how much money was that?
¿Cuánto dinero pagó?
De $2,500.
$2,500.
That's a lot of money to you, right?
Es mucho dinero para usted, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Yes.
Did it take you a long time to save up that money to come to the United States?
Y le tomó mucho dinero ahorrar ese dinero para poder cruzar a los Estados Unidos.
Sí.
Yes.
A lot of hard work?
Mucho trabajo. A lot.
What kind of work did you do in Mexico to earn that kind of money to come to the United States?
¿A qué se dedicaba en México para poder ganar ese dinero para venir a los Estados, para pagar la cuota para venir a los Estados Unidos?
En el campo, en tiendas, de lo que hubiera el trabajo.
I worked the fields and some stores, whatever work was available.
And Daniel, I forgot to ask you this question because it's probably an appropriate time to ask.
Y Daniel, se me olvidó hacerle esta pregunta, creo que ahorita es el momento más apropiado para hacerla.
How much education do you have?
¿Qué tanta escuela tiene?
Sexto grado.
Sixth grade.
We're going to back up just a little bit because I've got to change feeds here.
Can you read or write English?
¿Usted sabe leer o escribir en inglés?
No.
No.
And obviously, can you speak English?
Obviamente sabe hablar inglés?
No.
No.
Can you read and write Spanish? Can you speak English?
Obviamente sabe hablar inglés?
No.
No.
I'll fix the audio here, but we need this video.
Spanish?
¿Sabe leer y escribir en español? En Spanish, yes.
Now going back to the fee that you paid to come to the United States.
Ahora regresando al monto que usted pagó para cruzar a los Estados Unidos.
And you said you crossed 8 to 10 times.
Y usted dijo que había cruzado como 8 o 10 veces.
Sí.
Yes.
You didn't have to pay, did you have to pay $2,500 per time?
Usted tuvo que pagar los $2,500 cada una de esas veces.
Por veces, sí.
Each time, yes.
Did they, let me give you a scenario, if you paid $2,500 and you got caught, did you have to pay the next time to cross?
Vamos a, le voy a dar un ejemplo. Si usted pagó los $2,500 para cruzar y en eso lo agarran, la próxima vez tiene que volver a pagar esa cantidad.
2 veces, no.
2 times I didn't.
Okay, so they gave you what we call, do you understand the term credit?
¿Entiende usted el término crédito?
Crédito.
That's fine.
No.
That's fine. But when you paid and you got caught, you didn't necessarily have to pay the very next time, did you?
Entonces, cuando pagó y luego lo ganaron, la próxima vez usted ya no tenía que pagar. No.
Okay. And then not every single time you had money to pay the fee, right? Not every single time.
Y no siempre, cada una de las veces, no siempre usted tenía dinero para pagar, ¿no? No.
One time you carried drugs into the United States as your fee.
Una de las veces usted cruzó con drogas o parte.
Objection meeting.
Sí. Overall, yes.
Yes.
Were you punished for bringing drugs into the United States?
Lo castigaron, usted recibió un castigo por haber traído drogas a los Estados Unidos.
Sí.
Yes.
Did you enter a plea deal with the United States?
Usted aceptó un convenio declaratorio con los Estados Unidos.
The judge is going to allow the lead in here because of the
And
language.
after that plea deal, were you deported?
Y después de ese convenio, acuerdo declaratorio, usted lo deportaron.
Sí.
Yes.
How many times did you bring drugs into the United States?
¿Cuántas veces cruzó usted drogas a los Estados Unidos?
Una vez.
One time.
And that's the one time you're talking about.
Y esa es de la vez que estamos hablando.
Sí.
Yes.
Do you remember when that was?
¿Usted recuerda cuándo fue eso?
The year?
El año.
2014.
2014.
10 years ago.
And let's talk about close in time to this event.
Ahora vamos a hablar sobre el tiempo más cerca a lo que sucedió. ¿Ok?
Okay. Walk us through your decision process about coming into the United States this time around.
Explíquenos un poquito sobre cómo pensó usted las cosas para cruzar a los Estados Unidos.
Pues tenía que trabajar y estar trabajando y ir a trabajar, venía para Phoenix y conocí a Gabriel.
Yeah, well, I had to work. I had been working, and I wanted to cross and go to Phoenix, and that's when I met Gabriel.
I'm gonna show. I'm gonna show you a picture. Before I do, I want to go back and what was the drug that you brought into the United States in 2014?
Le voy a enseñar una foto, pero antes de eso, dígame por favor, ¿qué droga usó usted en el 2014? Marijuana.
I'm going to show you a photograph just for the attorneys and for you, not for publication.
Le voy a enseñar una foto.
Government exhibit.
Marijuana is a bulky drug to transport.
El elemento de cargo 11A.
Do you see that photo on your screen, Daniel?
¿Usted ve esa foto ahí en la pantalla?
Sí.
Yeah, we can't see.
Oh.
Okay.
He was caught. I believe he was caught with drugs, and I believe he served time federally for that.
Now we
We'll get into that.
They can see it. Yeah, they can see it. Let me do this in old-fashioned way as we set this up. Hold on. Here, hold on. Hold on. Yeah.
Do we have anything on your screens?
Yes. It's pulled out from the earth.
Did they show the jury accidentally? What's he holding? Does he have a stress? Does he have a stress ball?
You're gonna want to do this again, so let's try to figure it out.
I think the tech guys accidentally showed the jury the image that they were trying to show the witness. It should have only been routed to the witness and the counsel tables, possibly the judge.
It's off. Off. It's not walking through. I think that's where we need to be.
And now we see the stock exchange. That's just great. It's pretty cool. Stocks are going down. We'll switch over here though. I'm not sure why we're doing that.
Thing on your screen, it's in the red.
Daniel, ¿puede ver algo rojo ahí en su pantalla?
Sí.
Yes.
Jury.
Let me just tell you why we go through this process, okay? So, whatever's going to be shown is not yet admitted into evidence. Whether or not something can be admitted into evidence is the judge's decision based on whether just what we call proper foundation, whether a witness can say the things that shows that they have some awareness, familiarity, qualifications to talk about the document. It's not proper for jurors to see the document until I decide whether or not to admit it in evidence. I may decide not to admit it in evidence. If I decide not to admit it in evidence, it doesn't go into evidence, you never see it. You're never supposed to see it. So if you see it, and I decide it's not supposed to go into evidence, it's trying to like unring the bell, right? So that's why we do it this way. And this process, when it works, is a more efficient way of doing it. Otherwise,
when it
works, I show it to him, to them, or all of them, like we were kind of doing it yesterday. So that's why we're trying to get to make this thing work, and that's why we do it the way we do it. Okay, sorry to interrupt you.
Before he shows the witness that photograph, can we do a conference?
Oh, all right.
Oh my goodness, no warning. Okay, so this is a sidebar. The judge is going to put on his headset and start calling the plays from the sidelines. The two teams out in the well are going to, no, just a quick conference here. So it's very loud. It's definitely loud. I'm sorry about that. Yes, the mods are very busy now because we've got a lot of people throwing political comments in the chat. Please don't. Please don't. We're just here for court. We're just here to watch the trial and hear the evidence as it relates to the charges against the defendant. This is not the place to bring your opinions and everything on immigration or on the borders or politics or anything else. Pickle's not politics here. I think that would be helpful so we can all enjoy this together. If you do see a comment that briefly makes it through before it's handled by the mods, and you comment on that, you might find yourself with the same punishment of the original commenter. Just ignore the politics comments, and we should be good. So, Thal's giving out tackle hugs to everyone who needs it, and a few people who don't. So. Okay, I think I'm authorizing the mods just because there's so much stuff. Even the borderline people talking about, here's what I'm not going to say. We're going to time you out as well. Okay, so if you don't tell us what you're not going to tell us, all right? Let's just keep it focused on the case. We're having struggles with the feeds from various places, so let me see if I can do this here. Yep, are we done? Your Honor. He doesn't look at all like Britney Spears when he wears that, by the way. Somebody mentioned Britney Spears headset, but martial laws in effect. Mods have been deputized. That's pretty much how it goes. We're all friends here. I realize we come from different opinions and backgrounds, and we like to hang out here because even though we are all different, we do have different opinions. That all of them are valuable, and there we can definitely find places where we disagree. We all love true crime, and that's why we're here. So I appreciate that. Let's see. Not sure what the discussion here is about. I'm trying to read the judge's lips between everything, but he's covering his mouth and sort of mumbling. Does he have like a padded cushion behind him? Does he like have a chair warmer or something? Okay, he says something. He says turnover on downs, play ball. That's all it was. Okay.
All right, we're back on the record before the jurors. Thank you for your patience. You can proceed. Daniel, on January 30th of last year, the day of this incident, you met up with a bunch of individuals to come to the United States together.
Yes.
All right, and before doing that, you met up with an individual before coming.
Y antes de eso, antes de hacer eso, usted se reunió con un individuo antes de venir.
Who is that individual that you talked to about coming to the United States with?
¿Quién es ese individuo con quien usted habló sobre llegar a los Estados Unidos?
No lo conocía.
I didn't know.
You didn't know? Well, I mean, so we might be a misunderstanding here. When you wanted to come to the United States to work around January 30th last year, did you talk to someone in Mexico on the border about coming over?
¿Usted habló con alguien en México en la frontera sobre cruzar la frontera? Yes.
Yes, and who was that?
¿Y quién fue esa persona?
No, solo sé que le llaman Cholo.
The only thing I know is that he was called a Cholo.
Oh, I heard two different things. Was there a friend of yours you came across with?
Muy bien, dos cosas diferentes. ¿Quién fue? ¿Usted cruzó con un amigo suyo?
Sí, pero íbamos varios.
Yes, but there were several of us.
Sure. Who was the individual you talked about coming across? What was the plan of coming across? Where were you going to go, and what kind of work were you planning on doing?
Entendido, y ¿quién era ese individuo? ¿Cuál fue el plan para cruzar? ¿Qué es que usted estaba pensando en hacer al llegar aquí?
No le.
Interview your petition, perdón?
No le.
Don't understand.
What city were you planning on going to when you came into the United States?
¿Qué ciudad estaba pensando
planeando llegar a los Estados Unidos. Phoenix.
Phoenix. So what kind of job were you planning on doing when you got to Phoenix?
¿Y qué clase de trabajo estaba planeando hacer al llegar a Phoenix?
El roof de los techos, de la albañilería.
Roofing, also construction, masonry.
And whose idea was that? Was that your idea or somebody you knew?
¿Y esa idea fue de quién? ¿Fue de usted o fue de alguien que usted conocía?
De unos parientes.
Some relatives I knew.
All right. Was there? Did you meet up with a friend of yours before coming across the border?
Sustain.
Do you know any of the people that you came across the border with, Daniel?
Cuando usted cruzó la frontera, ¿usted conocía a alguien con quien cruzaba la frontera?
No.
No.
The name Gabrielle doesn't ring a bell to you?
El nombre Gabriel no le suena.
Well, it's whether it rings a bell.
Oh my goodness.
Recalls or not. Yes or no.
You can answer.
Puede contestar la pregunta. ¿Se acuerda? O sea,
He doesn't remember.
Del nombre Gabriel.
De Gabriel.
Gabriel.
And who is Gabriel?
¿Quién es Gabriel?
A él lo conocí en la obra en Nogales.
I met him in construction in Nogales. We were workmates.
And this is your first time testifying, right?
Otra vez, esta es la primera vez que usted dé testimonio, ¿correcto?
And with a jury.
Con un jurado. Yes.
You're a little nervous?
¿Está usted un poco nervioso? A little bit.
My questions can sometimes be confusing.
A veces mi pregunta puede ser un poco confusa.
You can be honest.
Puede ser honesto. Okay.
So Gabrielle's the individual you met in Nogales, Sonora?
Entonces Gabriel es un individuo que usted conoció en Nogales, Sonora.
Sí.
Yes.
And what was your relationship with Gabrielle?
¿Qué relación tenía usted con Gabriel?
No más compañeros de trabajo ahí en la obra.
We were just work companions at the construction site.
So you worked together in Mexico together for a little bit?
Entonces trabajaron ustedes juntos en México de un rato.
Nos mirábamos ahí en la de trabajo.
We would see each other there at the job.
And what's the time frame? How long did you know Gabrielle before coming across the border?
¿Cuánto tiempo conocía a Gabriel antes de cruzar la frontera?
Como un año.
Like a year or something like that.
So you knew him for a little bit.
Así que lo había conocido un rato entonces. Yes.
On the day of January 30th, did you travel to the United States, right?
El día 30 de enero usted viajó a los Estados Unidos, ¿correcto? Yes.
Was Gabrielle with you?
¿Estuvo Gabriel con usted? Yes, in the moment that we were going to cross, that was when we saw each other.
Okay, and he crossed with you.
Y él cruzó con usted.
Sí.
Yes.
Here, I'm gonna show Gabrielle the photograph.
Same objection, Your Honor.
Objection is overruled.
I have concerns here. I'm not sure.
I'll show you it's marked.
I'm not sure the witness understands the
118.
questions.
We'll correct that later, but 118.
Yo voy a mostrar lo que ha sido, creo, marcado como prueba de cargo 18.
Daniel, do you recognize that photograph?
Daniel, ¿te reconoce esa foto? Yes.
Who is that?
¿Quién es esa persona?
Gabriel.
Gabriel.
Is that a fair representation of what you remember Gabrielle as?
Es una buena representación de cómo usted se acuerda de Gabriel. Yes.
Or I move to admit Exhibit 118.
No.
118 is admitted.
Permission to publish.
Granted.
Again, Daniel, photo on the screen. That's Gabriel.
Otra vez, Daniel, la foto que está en la pantalla es Gabriel.
Sí.
Yes.
talk about January 30th of 2023, last year.
Ahora quiero hablar sobre el 30 de enero del año pasado.
Walk the jury through the day so they understand what happened to you on that day.
Explíquele al jurado sobre ese día para que ellos puedan entender qué les sucedió a ustedes ese día.
Yo, miramos la voz del patrón, íbamos a una carretera de tierra.
Well, we saw the border patrol. We made it to a dirt road.
Y entonces miramos la voz del patrón y el grupo que íbamos, pues ellos iban al frente de nosotros. Ellos corrieron y nosotros corrimos y ya no supimos nada de ellos. Y nos regresamos para no que nos tocara la
So we saw the border patrol, and those in front went off. They went forward, and we went back. And we went running. They went running forward, and we did that so that the border patrol wouldn't see us.
Okay, Daniel, I'm gonna go back further in time on that day.
Voy a retroceder un poquito en cuanto a tiempo sobre ese día.
Walk me through before you crossed the border. Walk me through the events before crossing the border.
Explíqueme sobre los eventos que sucedieron ese día antes de que usted cruzara la frontera ese mismo día.
Perdón, antes de cruzar para el Estados Unidos.
Sorry, do you mean before crossing into the United States?
I do.
Sí.
Yeah.
Pues estábamos esperando, nomás que llegara para irnos, para aventarse un poco tarde.
Well, we were waiting there to cross. It was getting to be a little bit late.
Waiting where?
Esperando en donde? There at the wall, at the border wall.
Is at that border wall, is it the whole thing a wall, or is this where the end of the wall?
En ese muro, ¿es todo un muro o ustedes estaban en el lugar donde termina? Where the wall ends.
And who's with you?
¿Y quién está con usted en ese momento? The whole group.
Well, how many people estimate?
¿Cuánta gente en el grupo? 8, 9 people.
What time of day is this?
¿Qué horas son? It was like 12.
I mean, why were you waiting?
¿Por qué estaba usted esperando? Because we were waiting for the person who was going to cross.
That person show up eventually?
Y apareció esa persona por fin. Yes.
Do you know who that person's name was?
¿Usted sabe cómo se llama esa persona? The only thing I know is that he's called El Choro.
What happened after Ancholo gets there? What happens?
Luego ya, ¿qué pasa cuando El Choro llega? ¿Qué pasa? We walked and then we jumped.
Jumped what?
Brincaron que to go over to the United States.
Okay, so you just jump and now you're in the United States?
Así que brincan y ya están en Estados Unidos. Yeah.
And where are you going?
¿Y a dónde van? We're going to the place where we're going to get picked up a car. I don't know.
Did anyone tell you if there's a name of this location?
¿Alguien le dijo el nombre de este lugar? No, all I knew was that we were going to cross a road, a dirt road.
Then walk us through, as you cross and as you're walking, walk us through what goes on.
Entonces explíquenos qué pasa mientras están cruzando y caminando, ¿qué pasa? We saw the border patrol.
How far into your walk did you see the border patrol?
¿Cuánto tiempo habían estado caminando ya cuando ustedes vieron a la patrulla fronteriza? Like an hour and a half in.
Okay. And what happened when? Let me ask you. Do you know if border patrol saw you?
Bueno, pregunta. ¿Usted sabe si la patrulla fronteriza lo vio a usted? No.
So when you saw Border Patrol, what happened to the group?
Entonces, cuando usted vio al Border Patrol, en la patrulla, como que dicen, ¿qué pasó? ¿Qué le pasó al grupo?
Pues no supe de ellos y pues, yo guié Gabriel tuvo que correr para escondernos de la montaña.
I don't know what happened with the rest of them, but Gabriel and I, we went running, and then we hid.
So you ran and hid with Gabriel?
Entonces, usted corrió y luego se escondió con Gabriel. Yes.
So let's walk through, how long did you run and hide? How long did you run and hide for?
Entonces, paso a paso, ¿cuánto tiempo corrió y cuánto tiempo estaba escondiéndose? Like 15 minutes running.
And you hid the other time?
Y luego también escondió el otro tiempo.
No sé, ya
No, we were going to start to walk when the shots started.
Oh, so when Border Patrol saw you and Gabriel splintered off? Is that fair to say?
Bueno, entonces un patrullero, patrullero del Border Patrol lo vio a usted y luego usted y Gabriel se separaron del grupo. ¿Se puede decir eso?
Sí.
Yes.
Right. And before I get too far into this, let me ask you, Daniel, did you have any weapons on you?
Muy bien, antes de hablar más, le quiero hacer una pregunta, Daniel. ¿Portaba usted algún tipo de arma en ese momento? No.
Did you have any drugs on you?
¿Llevaba drogas en ese momento? No.
Do you know if Gabriel had either weapons or drugs on him?
¿Usted sabe si Gabriel llevaba drogas o armas en ese momento? No.
No, you don't know, or no, you know he did not have?
No sabe o no portaba?
No portaba.
He wasn't carrying.
He wasn't carrying a gun or carrying drugs?
No portaba ni drogas ni tampoco armas.
No.
No.
And then when you mentioned you were hiding, what's the terrain like there? Do you remember what the terrain was like, the vegetation, the trees and the grass? Do you remember what that was like?
Ahora, usted mencionó que se escondió. ¿Cómo es el terreno, la vegetación, los árboles, el pasto? ¿Cómo nos puede describir cómo fue el terreno? Yellow grass, it was dry. Trees, mesquite trees.
How tall was that yellow grass?
¿Qué tan alto fue el pasto, el zacate verde, amarillo? From here from the ground to my knees, to the knees.
And you mentioned that there was shooting happened.
Usted mencionó que había disparos, que hubo disparos.
Sí.
Yes.
Walk the jury through that scene for us.
Explíquele al jurado cómo estuvo ese incidente.
Caminamos, veníamos caminando, como venía malo, y nos veíamos sentados, tiramos el camino con
Momentico. So we were walking and we weren't doing very well. We didn't have any water, so we decided to rest a little bit. Descansamos un tantito.
Y pues los paramos ya cuando íbamos a empezar otra vez a caminar fue cuando empezaron a disparar.
And we stopped. And when we were about to start to walk again, that was when the shots started.
What happened? Walk us through that.
Explíquenos.
Volteaba él para todas partes y no miraba a nadie. Miraba y no hablaba a nadie, no hacía un caballo en el suelo que había.
We looked all around. We couldn't see anybody. There wasn't anybody there. The only thing that was there was a horse.
Anything else around that you can identify?
¿Algo más alrededor de dónde estaban que usted pudo identificar?
Más a mi lado izquierdo, pero no de ahí veníamos para la derecha. Del lado izquierdo estaba una casa con pinos.
Just that on the left side there was a house with pines.
Okay, and do you know what direction the shots were coming from?
¿Y usted sabe de qué dirección venían los disparos? Right side over here.
On your right side, the shots were coming from your right-hand side?
Los disparos venían del lado derecho de usted. Yes.
In what direction were you going at this time?
¿En qué dirección iba usted en ese momento? The direction we were going to the border, we were going back.
So you're heading back to the border, and gunshots were coming from your right?
Entonces ustedes estaban yendo hacia la frontera, regresando a la frontera, y los disparos venían del lado derecho de usted. Yes.
You mentioned something about a horse. What was the horse?
Y usted mencionó algo sobre un caballo. ¿Qué es eso? Cuéntanos del caballo.
El caballo pues estaba cuando los primeros disparos el caballo estaba vivo, pues yo ya no me cago cuando miré a la persona que mi compañero Gabriel que ya me dijo me dieron.
Momentico. So there was a horse, and the horse at first started jumping, and then when I turned around, my companion, Gabriel, said, "I've been hit."
Do you know what color the horse was?
Usted sabe qué color era el caballo. Red.
And when you just mentioned Gabriel turned to you and said he's been hit,
Y usted acaba de mencionar que Gabriel le dio la vuelta a donde estaba usted y dijo, me dieron. Yes, I've been hit.
and do you remember how many?
Interpreter's ready.
Do you remember how many shots you heard?
¿Usted recuerda cuántos disparos escuchó?
Interpreter was
From
changed
8
out.
to 10 shots. But
Pero no fue asustado ya.
But I was so scared, so I don't know how many more, but maybe 10.
And you were scared at this point.
Y en este momento usted ya estaba asustado. Yes.
You just testified that Gabriel was hit.
Y usted dio testimonio de que a Gabriel le habían dado. Yes, because he said, been hit.
And did he do anything, like show you where he was hit, or what happened?
Él hizo algo como que le enseñó dónde le habían dado. ¿Qué pasó? He just grabbed his chest and he went like that and he said, I'm hit.
And then what did you do after that?
Y después de eso, ¿qué hizo usted? I started running. Brincó por encima. I jumped over Gabriel and I started running.
In which direction were you running?
¿En qué dirección iba corriendo? In the direction of the border.
Walk us through as you were running. Did you do anything? Did you stop? What happened as you ran to the border?
A ver, vamos paso a paso. Explíquenos, por favor, qué fue lo que pasó cuando iba corriendo de regreso a la frontera.
Agarré un parlante, no se puede usar un poco y volteé a ver para atrás y a mí, pero no miraba a nadie, que los siguientes no se habían parado de disparar. Yo cuando miré que para atrás se veía como una cancha de fútbol. Miré a una persona nomás que andaba arriba de disparar.
Yes. So I jumped off a small cliff and I looked back and I didn't see anything. The shots had stopped. So I looked back and it was about the size of a football field. And that far away, I saw that there was a person standing there, the person that was firing at us.
Could you see what it looked like?
¿Usted pudo ver, vio cómo se veía esa persona? No.
And how long did it take from the gunshots as you ran away and you looked back? Do you recall? If not, that's okay. Do you recall the time period by the time you turned back around and looked?
Y de cuando los disparos, y luego usted empezó a correr, ¿verdad? Y luego se detuvo y volteó. ¿Usted recuerda más o menos? Y si no recuerda está bien, pero ¿usted recuerda cuánto tiempo pasó? About 15 minutes.
When you look back, did you see, you may not be able to recognize, but did you see anything about the person that you saw?
Y cuando usted volteó a ver otra vez, probablemente no reconoció a la persona, pero reconoció algo en la persona.
Nomás que la camisa, nomás, de la que fue una camisa gris, nomás.
The only thing that I was able to, that I saw was that he's a gray shirt.
Anything about his head or anything about his head?
Algo en su cabeza. I didn't see anything else. I just saw white, and I don't know if there was a hat. I didn't see.
You saw white off the top of his head.
Usted vio blanco así en la cabeza.
Sí.
Yes.
And was he, if you know, was he at the distance, was he where you thought Gabriel was at?
Y si, a ver si recuerda, él estaba donde usted cree que estaba Gabriel.
De la dirección de donde yo había corrido.
From the direction where I had run from.
And then to finish out, you run back to Mexico.
Y para terminar esto, usted corrió a México. Yes.
You weren't caught by BP on this time.
Esta vez no lo hago en la Border Patrol. No.
Then what did you do when you got back to Mexico?
Y ya cuando usted llegó a México, ¿qué fue lo que hizo?
No, pues no, me quedé ahí tirado al lado del muro.
No, I was just there on the side of the wall. It was just, I was still very nervous.
Then what happened? Eventually, someone contacted you. Walk me through what happened and how long after that did someone contact you?
Y después de eso, finalmente alguien lo contactó. Explíqueme por favor paso a paso.
No.
Cuando alguien lo contactó.
No.
No.
No what?
No qué.
No, yo me quedé porque hasta que oscureció porque yo estaba malo, no podía caminar, estaba vómito del susto.
No, because I stayed there till sundown because I was throwing up because I was so nervous. I was vomiting and vomiting and vomiting.
Eventually, someone from law enforcement gets a hold of you, right?
Pero bueno, después de eso, finalmente un agente de la policía se comunicó con usted.
Después,
After. Days after.
Days after. And how did it happen? Tell us how that happened.
¿Y cómo se dio eso? ¿Cómo pasó eso? Explícanos
por
cómo pasó.
parte de la familia de
By means of his family, of Gabriel's family.
So Gabriel's family reached out to you.
Entonces, los familiares de Gabriel se comunicaron con usted.
No, un sobrino que era de ella, de la muchacha.
A nephew or an uncle, I don't know the relationship to the daughters, the girls.
Reached out to you, and that's how you became involved in this case.
Ese señor fue que se comunicó con usted y así fue como usted se involucró en todo este caso. Yes.
And going back to that group that came across around 12 o'clock that afternoon,
Ahora, regresando al grupo que cruzaron juntos, más o menos como mediodía. Yes?
did any of them have, if you know, any of them have guns?
Alguno de ellos, si es que usted sabe, alguno de ellos traía armas. No.
Did any of them, if you know, have drugs?
Alguno de ellos, si usted sabe, alguno de ellos traía drogas. No.
And what I mean by guns, I'm also talking about handguns,
Y cuando digo armas, digo pistolas
and also rifles.
o rifles. No.
No one had either of those two.
Nadie traía ninguna de esas dos cosas. No.
Just one moment, Your Honor.
I have questions about this.
I want to clarify a couple of questions for you, Daniel.
Quiero aclarar un par de preguntas conmigo. Okay.
The horse, was it a big horse, skinny horse, tall horse, short horse? Describe the horse.
El caballo. Era un caballo grande, un caballo flaco, un caballo alto, un caballo chapito. Describa, por favor, el caballo. Medium-sized horse, let's say from here down.
I'm sorry, I looked down when you did that, so.
And he had a white spot right here. And he wasn't fat, he was skinny.
And what side of, put the horse, I'm trying to arrange myself in this scenario when the shooting happened. Where was the horse in relationship to you and where the shots are coming from?
Ahora, estoy tratando de posicionarme en el lugar donde usted estaba cuando los disparos. Entonces, explíqueme dónde estaba el caballo en relación a usted y de dónde venían los disparos. On the right side, from where the fires were, where the shots were coming from, there was a fence, and the horse was on the right.
Were the shots coming from the other side of the horse, or was the horse between you and the shot, or was the horse on the other side of the shots?
Muy bien, entonces el caballo estaba del otro lado de los disparos. Bueno, el caballo estaba entre usted y los disparos, o estaba del otro lado?
Del lado de los disparos.
On the side from where the shots were coming from.
Okay. Let me talk about backpacks. Did people in the group have backpacks?
Ahora vamos a hablar de mochilas. Las personas en el grupo traían mochilas. Yes?
And what was in those backpacks, Danny?
¿Qué traían en las mochilas? Food?
Anything else?
Food, jacket, water.
And when Gabriel was shot, he also had a backpack, right?
Y cuando a Gabriel le dispararon, él también traía mochila.
Sí.
Yes.
And when he was shot and you were assessing what was going on, did you go through his backpack?
Y cuando a él le dieron, y usted estaba tratando de entender lo que estaba pasando, ¿usted se puso a registrar la mochila? No.
You ran.
Usted corrió. I ran.
So the questions I had really.
Let's see if we take a break here before cross-examination.
I just want to be clear. You
Nope.
said today that your name is Daniel Ramirez Valera. Is that right? Or Varela?
Ahora quiero aclarar, dice usted ahora que su nombre era Daniel Ramírez Varela. Varela.
Okay. You've testified in court about this before, right?
Usted ya ha dado testimonio en un tribunal sobre esto anteriormente, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Yes?
And when you testified previously, you stated your name was Daniel Ramirez Ruiz, correct?
Y cuando testificó anteriormente, usted dijo que su nombre era Daniel Ramírez Ruiz, ¿verdad?
Sí, porque tuve con los papeles, tuve un error con los papeles.
Because I had some mix-ups with my papers.
You had some mix-ups with your papers. What
Hubo
does that
un
mean?
enredo con sus papeles.
Sí, porque traía papeles mexicanos.
Yes, because I had Mexican documentation.
You had Mexican documentation that has your name as Daniel Ramirez Ruiz, correct?
Usted traía documentos mexicanos con el nombre de Daniel con Ruiz. Yes.
Where did you get those documents?
¿De dónde consiguió usted sus documentos?
En la frontera de Guatemala.
At the border with Guatemala and Mexico.
Why did you change your name when you got Mexican paperwork?
¿Por qué se cambió el nombre cuando consiguió los documentos mexicanos?
No me lo cambié, sino que en lo que me hicieron los papeles me pusieron un apellido que no era.
I didn't change it. It's just when I got the documents, they wrote down a name that it wasn't.
So somebody else just wrote down the wrong last name?
Entonces alguien más escribió el apellido equivocado.
Sí.
Yes.
But you said that that was your name.
Pero usted dijo que ese era su nombre.
Daniel Alberto Varela.
Daniel Alberto Ramírez Varela.
When you testified previously under oath, you testified that your name was Daniel Ramirez Ruiz, right?
Cuando usted dio su testimonio en la otra audiencia, usted estaba bajo juramento y dijo que su nombre era Daniel Ramírez Ruiz, ¿verdad? Varela.
You remember having a previous hearing where you testified before today. Do you remember that?
¿Usted se acuerda aquella otra audiencia, haber tenido otra audiencia donde usted dio su testimonio anterior a esta, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Yes?
And you told the court at that hearing that your name was Daniel Ramirez Ruiz. That's what you said on that date. You remember that?
Y usted le dijo al juez en aquella audiencia que su nombre era Daniel Ramírez Ruiz. ¿Se acuerda de eso?
Sí.
Yes.
And when you spoke with investigators in this case, you also told them that your name was Daniel Ramirez Ruiz. Is that right?
Y cuando usted habló con los investigadores en este caso, también les dijo que su nombre era Daniel Ramírez Ruiz. ¿Es correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
Even though that's not your real name.
Aunque ese no es su nombre verdadero.
Es mi nombre, lo que pasa como yo traía papeles mexicanos y pues yo no traía otros documentos, sino que la nomás papeles que traía era de México.
Yes, that is my real name. It's just that since I had the documents from Mexico, I didn't have any other documentation except those papers from Mexico.
You're saying now that Daniel Ramirez Ruiz is your real name.
Ahora dice que Daniel Ramírez Ruiz es su nombre verdadero.
No.
No.
So that's not your real name.
Daniel Alberto Ramírez Varela. That is my full name.
So Daniel Ramirez Ruiz is not your real name.
Entonces Daniel Ramírez Ruiz no es su nombre verdadero.
Ruiz no.
Ruiz, no.
Okay. But you did provide that name that's not your real name to the court and to investigators in this case, correct?
Pero usted sí le dio al juez y a los investigadores ese nombre que no es el correcto, ¿verdad?
El apellido.
The last name that is not, but I always said Varela.
You're telling me that you always told investigators in this case that your last name was really Varela.
Usted está diciendo ahora que usted siempre le dijo a los investigadores que su apellido correcto era Varela.
Sí.
Yes.
So all the investigators, when they testify, they'll say that you told them that your real name was Varela.
Entonces, cuando los investigadores den su testimonio, ellos van a decir que usted siempre les dijo que su nombre era Varela.
Sí.
Yes.
You say that you've crossed into the United States approximately 10 times, is that right?
Usted dice que ha cruzado los Estados Unidos aproximadamente 10 veces, ¿verdad? Yes.
And that's in pursuit of the American dream, correct?
Y eso es buscando el sueño americano, ¿correcto? Yes.
You also say that you've been caught every single time that you've attempted to cross into the United States, correct?
Y usted también dijo que cada una de las veces que ha intentado cruzar a los Estados Unidos lo han agarrado, ¿correcto? Yes.
And you also say that you've paid $2,500 every time you crossed. Is that correct?
Y usted también dijo que cada vez que ha intentado cruzar a los Estados Unidos ha pagado $2,500, ¿correcto? Yes?
And if you do that 10 times, that adds up to $250,000. Is that correct?
Y si usted ha hecho eso 10 veces, entonces suma a $250,000, ¿correcto? Yes?
No, I'm just.
25,000.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
25,000. 25,000.
Thank you. That's a lot of money, is that correct?
Eso es mucho dinero, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Yes.
Where did that come from?
¿De dónde viene ese dinero?
De trabajo, lo más.
From the time that I'm working, I save up a little, and or my family would help me.
How long does it take you to save up $2,500?
¿Cuánto tiempo le toma a usted poder ahorrar $2,500?
Depende del trabajo que tengan los familiares que me van a ayudar.
It depends on the work that my family members have who are helping me.
Your family members, you say, are in Honduras, is that correct?
Sus familiares usted dice están en Honduras, ¿correcto? Yes.
And poverty is very bad in Honduras. You said that too, right?
Y hay mucha pobreza en Honduras. Usted dijo eso también, ¿correcto? Yes, yes.
But your family is able to raise this money for you somehow?
Pero su familia de todas formas puede recaudar ese dinero de alguna forma.
Familiares que ya están en Estados Unidos.
Family members who are in the United States now.
So you have family members who are in the United States who raise this money for you?
Entonces usted tiene familiares en Estados Unidos quienes consiguieron ese dinero para usted. Yes.
You've never worked in the United States, correct?
Usted nunca ha trabajado en Estados Unidos, ¿correcto? No.
Because you've been caught every single time you've attempted to come into the United States, correct?
Porque le han agarrado cada vez que usted ha intentado entrar a Estados Unidos, ¿correcto? Yes.
Council, we're going to take our mid-morning recess. We'll take a 30-minute recess. We'll come back at 10:30.
All right, so we're going to have a little break here. This is. I have some questions. I will say first of all, I think that the witness does not understand the questions that are being asked. I think he's lost. Honestly, I don't think he knows. Multiple times he answered questions in ways I think the prosecutors were not expecting him to answer. I think he does have some credibility issues a little bit. The name, they spent a long time talking about the name, and that I would say they spent too long talking about the name. I think we heard in the opening that he initially told the police, the authorities, when they reached out to him, that he had never been in jail before, never had a problem, and it turns out he did actually serve time in the U.S. That's what we heard in the opening. And it pauses. Nice. Okay, we'll address that here in just a minute. Man, I'm struggling here. The money thing, it makes more sense if he's got family in the United States. The average income in Honduras was $2,750. Okay, and if he left because of poverty, then you would assume that they probably are not average income in Honduras. So having the family be in the United States getting money, that makes a little more sense. It makes it a little more plausible to say that he was able to raise, I don't know, in 10, 15 years, however long it's been since he's trying to come across the border, the $25,000, which are the fees that the cartel charges. Honestly, they control the border, and they extort these fees from people who want to cross over. And they provide some services. Along with that, they'll give you a ride to the border, and then I think sometimes they'll coordinate a ride on the other side if you make it far enough. The issue I have is when he's telling his story, the timelines don't match up. They don't match up well. Say for instance, let's do a quick little Google look at our Google Earth right here. He says he crossed the border and hiked for an hour and a half. It is 1.33 miles from the border to where the shooting happened. It's literally it's a very short walk, and we're not talking extreme rugged hills here. A little bit of terrain, but it's grasslands, hills up and down. Hour and a half. That's a very leisurely walk as they just cross the border and trying to get away from where the Border Patrol patrols. So the timeline didn't work very well. Also, when he said that when the shooting started, he ran for 15 minutes, approximately the distance of a football field. So the numbers aren't adding up is the problem. It doesn't match the opening either. I'm struggling. I believe that there's something there in this testimony, but I'm wondering. I just don't know. I'm not sure. There's something else we're missing, I think. But all right, the time of day, not dark when it happened. I don't know about the horse. I'm not sure. I know that the defendant did have a horse, and that's. But we were told that the defendant's going to say that the horse was dead or the horse was shot in the exchange, and he didn't yet. I'm sure that the defense will probably extract that out of him, especially if he'd said that under oath previously in a hearing or in a deposition, and now has a different story. He did say that he jumped over the body of Gabriel after Gabriel was shot and fell. He jumped over and ran, but he did not, do anything to the zippers or the backpacks or grab anything from him. He just ran immediately, which sounds reasonable, sounds plausible. But yeah, I don't know. This is I think the lost in translation side of this makes it difficult for me to see the state is resting their case on this testimony, where he doesn't understand the simple thing of testifying his own name under oath, and he says it's wrong, and then changes it, and he's had a variety. He was asked if he knew if Gabriel came across with him. He's like, nope, don't know. Was there anybody you know? Nope. And they're like, oh, you said you crossed with him. Oh, Gabriel, yeah, Gabriel. Little things like that. Not that I think he's lying. Okay, I don't think this is a witness that is trying to be dishonest. I think he honestly doesn't understand the question. Even with the translation, like he doesn't understand the purpose of the question, and he's trying to. But let's see. I think in an extremely stressful situation like that, it's very easy to lose track of time. Sense of time can slow down or speed up depending on your emotions. He ran, jumped off a little cliff, turned around, looked back, and saw the defendant. Well, he saw somebody with sort of white on their head, like whether that's white hair or hats, we don't know, in the direction that he ran from. Previously, he said he saw the defendant standing over the body of Gabriel, which would mean that in the speed that he ran, if he ran about 100 yards, which is roughly the distance that the state is saying the shooting happened from, that Mr. Kelly ran the same speed to get to the body, that distance. It's just little things that aren't adding up in the story, and I think they need to. There needs to be some. I mean, it helps that he has a description of the horse and the height of the horse and things like that, but there needs to be a little bit more. I'm hoping there's a little more that we hear out of this testimony than just that, because he's got a direction the shooting started from. And that's it. I interviewed Spanish-speaking people. This isn't ringing true for me, says Cass. I think as far as the translator goes, we've had two translators. They change out very quickly. This is something that's stressful for a translator, especially if they're not extremely experienced. Live translation between two people, there's no rest. You're constantly translating back and forth. Your mind is playing ping pong, and also like trying to store and translate and adjust back and forth. So they're doing a great job. I don't think they're doing a poor job of translation at all. Let's see who we got here. Hello. It's trying to connect. Here we go.
Call from
Thal. We've only...
accept, press 1.
Oh, sorry.
To send a voicemail, press 2.
Thal, can you hear me? He hung up. I tried it. I pushed 1. You can dial back that tone. I pushed 1. Let's see. Needs better clarification. I feel bad for him for many reasons. Let's see. Hang on. Okay, here's Thal again.
Call from
Thal again.
Thal again. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I see how it is. I give Weather Watch a hard time, blame everything on him. You don't even want to talk to me. I see how you do. That's fine.
There were like 3 or 4 of your comments that we didn't have to delete moments after you posted them today. I think at least 3 of them have gotten through. But
well, that was nice of you.
We're trying to do the pickles, not politics thing. But
yeah, no, I understand. The problem I had with his testimony was the thing about being in prison. I went, okay, cool. You know what I mean? Admitted to me, that's good.
Yeah.
And then he went, well, I got busted for, crossing with stuff. And I went, oh, okay, that's not good. You know what I mean? But that's fine. At least he admitted to it. And then he turned right around and said, oh, I've never worked for cartels. I'm like, yes, you did. Whether you know it or not, yes, you did. And there's no way you've tried to make 4 attempts on the border and not known that.
10 attempts.
There's no way.
10 attempts.
10 attempts? Okay, yeah, no, there's no way. There's no way.
It seems...
And I'm not saying he, takes money from the cartel and did it all on purpose and all this stuff. I'm not saying some kind of grand conspiracy. What I'm saying is he probably worked through a middleman or somebody else, which is how it's done many times. And he ended up working for them, but probably not directly. But, yeah, he did.
I can imagine the situation where the cartel may have forced on somebody in the group they're like, look, one of you has to carry this. And it's the person who has the least money. So, yes, technically that would be working for the cartel, but I can also see his standpoint where he's like, I'm not with them. They made me do this. So I can give him that
I understand
space,
that.
But
yeah,
what I don't
can
get is...
But go ahead.
10 times he's trying to come across the country, come into the country. 10 times, right? They see Border Patrol. They split. They sit down. He's chilling with Gabriel. And then they run back to Mexico?
Right.
When the Border Patrol isn't there, hot on their heels, he just decides, I'll just pay another $2,500. We'll try again tomorrow. I don't see why he's not, if he's trying to get into the country. It just didn't add up for me. Why is he running back to Mexico when this happens? He's like, oh, Border Patrol got those guys. We're out. We're going to head back to Mexico.
Yeah, because when you think of it, that's another thing that didn't make any sense to me, because the scattering made sense, because I've been in a cornfield partying up with, my fellow teenagers at one point in my life. And, cops show up. What do people do? They scatter.
Yeah.
Makes sense. You don't want to get caught. I get that. But the running back to the border thing is that's the first thing that clued me into, is I was like, wait a minute, what are you doing? And then we got to the description of the shooting itself, and I'm like, wait a minute. So you didn't see a flash? You just heard a retort? And he's like, well, yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, did we see someone actually, doing this? Because it's at night. We would see this.
I thought it was it was during the day. Because we've got the initial...
Well, even during the... Yeah,
the initial shooting, or the initial time, if we try to put the two together, Mr. Kelly says there was a shot he heard. Then he came out and started shooting to scare people off his land. He saw a group. Then they sit down and rest. No, they run from that. The initial shooting. There's only one shooting for the witness, for Daniel. There's only one. It's 8 to 10 rounds, which is sort of matches with what Mr. Kelly said he fired. I don't know. It's just I'm trying to put these puzzle pieces together, and I think they're two different puzzles. That they're not. There's no.
Well, and the thing is one thing that wasn't asked, and hopefully it's asked by the defense. I haven't heard it yet, but as being you both know, because we're experienced with firearms, guns sound differently. if they're different types. Yeah. So some you're going to get a whip crack, breaking the speed barrier. Some you're not. They're going to be subsonic. Others are going to sound a little differently from this or that. But, you know, hearing a lot of gunfire in a certain area, especially 8 or 10 shots, you can tell, you know what I mean? Especially with, it's not an enclosed area, it's a wide open area. You would be able to tell if there was different gunshots coming in and out. And the only thing he asked the guy was, did you hear a shot? Yes. Okay, then I stood up and I saw a guy. I'm going, okay, we haven't connected those two things.
Well,
the DA never asked, was he holding a weapon? Was he firing still? These questions were never asked.
Yeah.
It was assumed and then said, did you see somebody standing there? Well,
he's not identified.
That doesn't link it for me.
He's not identified the defendant at all. There's no identifying the defendant in this, other than he's got white hair or white on his head. But
yeah, and I'm like, well, and the thing is to my part is that if it's at midnight, why didn't you see a gun flash? And if you're saying, well, it was in the middle of the day, great. Then why didn't you describe his color of his uniform? They all wear the same uniform. If he's passed 10 times and been caught, he knows what the uniform looks like. Why wouldn't you ask that?
Well, the defendant wasn't on Border Patrol. The defendant just lives there.
No, I know.
So
I'm talking about he lives there. Okay.
Yeah. The defendant, if we look on the map here on the screen, I'm not sure if you can see this right now, but the defendant his house is right about here. Let's zoom in here just a little bit. Here we go. This is the house. It's got a little pergola there in the backyard. We've got a little red line. That's roughly the distance. That's about the 115 yards from the house. That's roughly the same distance that the defendant just testified that he ran in 15 minutes, jumped down a small cliff, and then turned around and looked back and saw Mr. Kelly standing over Gabriel's body. It's just that it doesn't really add up right here. I don't. He ran towards the border,
and the distance thing with Well, the thing is that you brought up some really good points about the distance running, and also the fact that it's not matching up with where I'm at, with what I saw, with how I got here to there, A to B, and what I saw. It's like, wait a minute, you couldn't have done that. You know what I mean? It's like it's almost like what it feels like to me is the DA said. The DA said something, to the effect of, you want to stay in the country, not so much directly, but probably indirectly in some manner or phase, kind of went, you want to stay in the country, you know what I mean? You need to testify, kind of getting into the fact of, we need you to tell us the story we need to hear.
The police actually went to Mexico and met with him there. And they brought him across the border to testify. Literally, they haul him across to testify and then send him back. And so if he has to be here multiple days, he'll cross the border multiple times because he doesn't sleep here at night. They haul him across. He's got an escort, but the country, the U.S., has a program where if you testify in a court such as this, the state can file paperwork and say, we would like to have this witness issued a card that will allow them to stay in the U.S., and usually they allow the family as well, in return for the service you provided in testifying in this trial. There's big incentive there. That's huge incentive.
Yeah. And we get back to and not to interrupt you, but we get back to, once again, I've tried 10 times and failed. Yeah. At home is really, really bad. If I could swing a deal, if I was him and I could swing this deal, I might just do it.
Yeah.
If my home life is that bad.
I don't know. I want to hear more. I wish I understood Spanish and I could hear him tell the story in his own language. That for me would be
right.
helpful.
I think I think that's really good, because not to bring up anything political, and this isn't really political, but it was interesting when Putin did an interview with what's his nugget or whoever it was. There was a bunch of Russian speakers who were in the comment section that were saying, well, Putin didn't say that. He said it like this, or he meant it like that, which my point is that there seems to be some kind of loss of meaning in translation. Right.
And I don't think that that's the fault of the translators at all. It's difficult.
No. I think
we have words that mean different things. Okay. I do and see,
right.
and yes, and see, and, and where we translate things.
Well, I think it's just the structure, the inherent structure of language, and how different societies use their own native languages. I think that's part of it. I think it's a mechanical issue. I don't think it's anybody's trying to be devious.
Yeah, I think also the structure of the court and the process of the court is confusing as well, and that adds to the difficulty of the clarity. I mean, the judge just interrupting and talking to the jury about what's going on. The guy's like, what am I doing here? What is happening? Okay, I raise my hand. He
that's another really good point too. Yeah, and that's a really good point too. I mean, imagine yourself on a stand and they're speaking Urdu and we all speak English, and there's conversations going on in the middle of what you're trying to do with a translator. So you one, lose your rhythm. Two, you don't understand what all this talking is that everybody's doing. So you're just sitting there like, what in God's name is going on? And now let's get back to the nervousness being stacked upon you testifying once again, with these interruptions. Yeah, that would be nerve-wracking for anybody. I mean, I feel for the guy. Don't get me wrong. I don't find him very credible. It's just, like you said, there's too many holes and too many patches that I'm seeing in this. If I'm on the jury, I'm pressing F for doubt. I'm not saying he's lying about everything, but I'm pressing F for doubt on a lot of it. So, yeah. But I think I mainly blame the DA for that. So,
yeah. I agree. I think the burden lies on the prosecutors on this one. Man, I would like to just hear him tell the whole story. Just sit down and in Spanish tell the story, no interruptions, and then just hear it how it happened in his words. I think to me that would be much more.
That would have been great.
Here's what we have. We have people on this jury that have a high probability, because this area, Spanish is a very common language to be spoken. They have a high probability of understanding, either natively or as a second language, exactly what he's saying. And they're not going to be listening to say, like, oh, the translator got it wrong, but they might understand a meaning differently than when it's translated into English, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be interesting. They're not supposed to accept that. Right?
Yeah, they're not supposed to do that,
but as this is what happens. But I mean, how do you tell them not to understand what they understand?
It's simple. You just don't believe your lying ears. That's all you got to do.
Thal, it's great to talk to you. Appreciate you calling in. Be good in chat so we don't have to time you out. So,
but I didn't do anything. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I am always a blessed serving of. Okay, I'll behave.
Awesome. Appreciate you, my friend. Good
and remember, blame Weather Wash for anything bad that happens today.
Yep. No, I'm going to blame him for all the times he times you out. So, thanks.
There you go. There you go.
Catch you later, my friend. We'll see you.
Bye, buddy.
Bye. Okay, so the fake papers, I can see that being a problem. The way he explained it does make sense. I mean, just think, for those of you that are into doing like family research, like where your ancestors came from, how many times do you go back and you find like, well, here's John Doe, but his dad's name was actually John Deere. And, that's an example. It's probably a bad one. But a generation from generation, things happen. And a lot of times you'll see that when John Deere came across the ocean and landed in New York and went through immigration, they wrote it differently. And so the record of his birth has his name spelled John Deere, and then when he came here, they called it John Doe, and that's where it changed. That can happen, especially when you're dealing with countries that have poor documentation of residence as far as identification, things like that. In areas of poverty, extreme poverty, nobody has their social security and driver's license and everything else to go by, and a lot of it's word of mouth. This is who I am. I mean, I was born. This is how old I am. This is what how do you authenticate your existence if you don't have your paperwork? And so there's a possibility there. The problem, his dad's name was Deere. His mom's was Doe. Okay, Adam, I got that mixed up. So I can see each of these working, but I just wish that the prosecutors had maybe just, it seems like the prosecutors, when they're asking the questions, are getting answers they weren't expecting. And that's throwing me off a little bit more. They're like, are you sure you didn't know Gabriel? Or does the name Gabriel ring a bell? If I show you the picture, can you tell me does this look like Gabriel? It seems like he's just confused about all these. All right, and everyone's singing the Doe a Deer song, female deer. A little bit of Sound of Music. Michael 12 says, I speak Spanish, and she kept trying to say he testified in court about Ruiz because his legal documents have that name. Yes, papers when first come over, but 10 years later are not truthful. So that's what I'm saying, that when he first came over, when he came from Honduras into Mexico, that transition, he got papers in Mexico. And the Mexican papers had his last name as Luez instead of Ramirez or something like that. And so the legitimate papers that he has, which he would then have to offer to the U.S. if he was going through immigration or trying to immigrate, that would have an inaccurate name. And I can see why he would say, okay, my name's Luez as the last name, because if the papers don't match up, they're going to reject me. So that I can see that, just accepting the wrong name. I see that. I agree to disagree. It's all right. Feel free to call in, Selena. I appreciate your input on this and your ability to look at this situation and even tolerate some people who have very different ideas. This happened to my grandfather, and I went through life with a name that was wrong, says Tower Hill Girl. Makes sense on the name issue. We're waiting. The court normally takes about a half-hour break, which is a long one, but that's what they do. So when it comes back, we'll let you know. What do papers have to do with his witness testimony of the incident? Genuine question. Lenova, the reason why they're asking is because it goes to credibility of the witness, because there's a prior time that this witness was sworn in under oath and agreed to tell the truth. It was sworn to tell the truth, and he answered a question falsely. So they're using that just to say, this is a witness who previously, when told that you have to tell the truth on the stand, and he said he would, he didn't. That's it. Now, there might go deeper into that and say there could be a reason why he didn't tell the truth, and that's because under his other name, he may have served time when he came across with drugs and was caught with the drugs. But that might be where we're going next. All right. Missing Pieces is making stew for everybody. I'm so excited. It's going to be delicious. 10 years is a long time. Selena, not sure you want me to call. Selena, if you can keep it respectful, I'd love to hear it.
Call from
Angela.
Angela, guess what? I don't have a headache today. I can talk to you and listen to what you have to say. What are your thoughts this morning?
Okay, I need first to disclose something. The only reason why I know so much about Border Patrol and why I watch To Catch a Smuggler, among other things, is because I mentioned before that I love to write and that I am part of the writing community on the internet. And I may or may not have already started to write a book, crime, of course, which is a work in progress, by the way. It's nowhere near done.
Are you announcing your book tour beginning right here on this channel?
Well, let me first finish the book.
Okay. I'd love to be the first place you announce your book tour. That would be great.
Well, it will, if I ever manage to finish it, and it will be online for free, so no need to purchase anything. So never mind. So that's the only reason why I went a deep dive, and that's why I know so much, because it may or may not have to do with something that I plan to do in the future, or am already doing it. But so I just want to clear that up. Also, I totally understand regarding this mix-up because I have, when I moved to Sweden years ago, because there is this letter in Serbian that does not exist in Swedish or English alphabet. And for about a year, I was called Andela. So I had like technically different name than in Sweden than in Serbia. And then I changed my last name in Sweden. And so for a while by that time I had double citizenship. I had one name in my Swedish passport and the other name in my Serbian passport. So I sort of understand where this person is and how paper can be mixed up, and especially if you leave. I mean, on the other hand, both Honduras and Mexico are Spanish countries, so it shouldn't be that hard to mix up the names if something is wrong. But on the other hand, I don't know. So I would not say that would be this. If anyone on the jury knows anything about paperwork, it might not be the discouraging part for them to say, "Oh, he is lying," or "He's not honest," just because of that part.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not ready to take this witness and just disregard all his testimony. But I've got enough questions that if I don't get answers here, either under direct or under redirect or cross-examination, I think I might have some doubts here. And if this is the best witness to put this witness as the shooter, for me, I'm not sure if that'll do that.
I have questions. He is terrified, and that also might be why he is unsure and why he looks a little sketchy, to be honest, because he has to answer questions regarding cartels, and that's... I have watched Narcos, I have watched El Chapo to know how they can react.
Yeah.
And there's also a few
that would be scary. But he's not
Yeah.
saying anything against the cartel. He's not admitting to working for them. He's not telling anything about what they do. He's not outing them or their processes or their people in the U.S. or in Mexico. I don't know. Hang on. We might get some audio here right now. Hang on. I think we're coming back. Angela, I've got to let you go, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, just 1 second. I'm trying to get everything set up again. Witness is back on the stand.
The interpreter is instructing the witness. He's answering before she's finished her questions, and it's distracting. It doesn't make for a good record, so she's just instructing him to please wait until she finishes interpreting before it starts to provide answers. Anyway, we're back. We'll continue your cross-examination with this argument.
So when we left, we were talking about the different times that you've come into the United States illegally. You recall we were talking about that?
Bueno, cuando tomamos el descanso, antes del descanso, estábamos hablando de las diferentes veces que usted ha entrado a los Estados Unidos ilegalmente. ¿Se acuerda de eso?
Sí.
Yes. Have you ever tried to come into the United States legally?
¿En algún momento ha intentado usted entrar a los Estados Unidos legalmente?
Legal no.
Legal? No.
Why not?
¿Por qué no?
Porque no tengo documentos.
Because I don't have documents.
Why don't you apply? Why didn't you apply or go through a legal process to try to come into the United States for the American dream?
¿Por qué nunca ha solicitado? ¿Por qué no intentó pasar por un proceso legal para entrar a los Estados Unidos de forma legal para conseguir el sueño americano?
Porque no tenía miedo de deportaran de la colonia.
Because I was afraid that I was going to be deported.
If you tried to come into the country legally, you were afraid that you would be deported?
Si usted entrara a los Estados Unidos, usted legalmente tenía miedo que lo iban a deportar?
Sí.
Yes.
But when you come into the country illegally, you do get deported, correct?
Pero sí sabe que cuando entra a los Estados Unidos ilegalmente, sí lo deportan, ¿correcto? Yes.
That's happened to you a number of times, right?
Y eso le ha pasado varias veces, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
So my question is, why didn't you try to come into the United States through some sort of legal means?
Entonces mi pregunta para usted es, ¿por qué no intentó entrar a los Estados Unidos por algún proceso legal?
No.
Don't understand.
Did you understand that you could apply to try to come into the United States legally?
Entendió que usted sí podía solicitar, que puede solicitar para intentar entrar a los Estados Unidos de forma legal. I didn't know that.
You had no idea that there was a legal process to come into the United States.
Usted no tenía ninguna idea que existía un proceso legal para entrar o para intentar entrar a Estados Unidos. No.
You thought the only way to come into the United States was to come in illegally.
Usted pensó que la única forma que se podía entrar a Estados Unidos fue de forma ilegal.
Sí.
Yes.
So you don't believe that the United States allows any legal migration?
Entonces usted no cree que Estados Unidos permita algún tipo de migración legal.
Antes no.
Before no.
Before what?
Antes de que, señor.
Antes de venirme de Honduras para acá.
Before coming from Honduras to here.
Before coming from Honduras to here, you did not know that the United States allows legal migration.
Antes de venir de Honduras a acá, usted no sabía que Estados Unidos permiten migración legal.
No.
No.
You believe nobody's ever allowed to enter into the United States.
Usted pensaba que nadie nunca es permitido entrar a Estados Unidos legalmente.
No sabía.
I didn't know.
Wow.
When you paid for somebody to bring you into the United States, you're paying a smuggler, is that right?
Ahora cuando usted paga o pagó que alguien lo llevara a Estados Unidos, usted está pagando un contrabandista, ¿verdad que sí?
Sí.
Yes.
And 10 times you've crossed every time you've paid a smuggler, is that right?
Las 10 veces que ha cruzado, cada vez ha pagado un traficante.
Sí.
Yes.
Did you use the same smuggler every time or a different smuggler?
¿Usaba el mismo traficante, el mismo contrabandista cada vez?
No.
No.
How do you find a smuggler to take you into the United States?
¿Cómo es que usted encuentra un traficante para llevarlo a Estados Unidos?
Porque busco en otras fronteras.
I look in other borders.
So my question is, how do you find a smuggler to take you to the United States?
Bueno, mi pregunta es, ¿cómo es que usted encuentra un contrabandista para llevarlo a los Estados Unidos?
Porque llegas a la frontera y cualquiera te dice que va a llegar.
Well, if you arrive at the border and any number, somebody will say, I'll take you.
So you without any plan, you just walk yourself to the border?
Entonces, sin ningún plan, usted nada más se camina a la frontera.
Sí.
Yes.
And smugglers just hang out at that area and wait for people to ask to be smuggled?
Traficantes nada más pasan el tiempo ahí y esperan que la gente llegue, gente que quiere cruzar.
Sí.
Yes.
And when you walk to the border, you carry $2,500 with you?
Y cuando usted camina a la frontera, tiene en su persona $2,500.
Sí.
Yes.
In cash?
En efectivo.
Sí.
Yes.
And the smuggler shows up at the border and you give the smuggler the cash?
Entonces el traficante aparece en la frontera y usted le entrega al traficante el efectivo.
Sí.
Yes.
And everybody else who goes in the group with you, they do the same thing?
Y todos los demás que están con usted en el grupo hacen la misma cosa.
No sé.
I don't know.
So you show up and you give the smuggler $2,500 in cash.
Entonces usted aparece y usted le da a este contrabandista de $2,500 en efectivo.
Correct?
¿Correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
But you have no idea if anybody else does that.
Pero usted no tiene ninguna idea si otras personas, alguna otra persona hace eso.
No.
No.
You guys, the mods are having to
Why
work
do you
overtime
pay
on
a
this.
smuggler?
We're going to start just timing people out for 24 hours. If you're not talking about this case and the testimony, if you're getting political, if
Because I don't know, I don't have the means.
the mods don't like the capitalization of your words, we're
Why
just
don't
going
you
to time you out
just
for
walk
24 hours.
across the border yourself? Why do you need a smuggler?
¿Por qué es que usa traficante? ¿Por qué nunca nada más caminado, cruzado la frontera usted mismo?
Porque no conozco.
Because I don't know the place.
Why don't you find somebody who knows the place who will take you for free?
¿Por qué es que nunca he encontrado a nadie? Porque no encuentra a nadie que conoce el lugar y que lo va a llevar gratis.
Porque no cruzo por la misma frontera.
Interpreter requires repetition, Your Honor. Porque no cruzo por la misma frontera.
Sí.
Lo que dijo, because I don't cross in the same border.
If you know the way, so if you knew the way yourself, would you cross by yourself without paying a smuggler?
Si usted conociera bien la ruta, cruzaría usted mismo sin pagar a un traficante.
Si conociera, sí, pero no conozco.
If I knew, yes, but I don't know.
You wouldn't be worried about anything happening to you if you crossed by yourself without paying?
Usted no estaría preocupado que algo le sucediera a usted si usted pagara, si usted cruzara sin pagar.
Sí.
Yes.
You'd worry about criminal organizations being upset with you, right?
Usted se preocuparía por organizaciones delictivas que estarían molestos con usted, ¿correcto? Don't understand.
You pay a smuggler who works for a criminal organization, is that right?
Usted paga a un traficante quien trabaja para una organización delictiva, ¿correcto? I don't know.
You don't know?
No sabe.
That's your answer? You don't know?
La respuesta que usted dio es que no sabe.
No sé.
I don't know.
You don't know that smuggling is controlled by criminal organizations? You don't know that?
Usted no sabe que el tráfico es controlado por organizaciones delictivas.
No.
I don't know.
You have no idea about that at all?
No sabe nada sobre eso de ninguna forma.
No.
No.
You're aware that people bring drugs across the border. You're aware of that, right?
Usted sí está consciente que la gente lleva drogas por la frontera, cruzando la frontera, ¿correcto? ¿Está consciente de eso? Yes.
And you're aware that those people are controlled by criminal organizations, right?
Y usted está consciente que esa gente es controlada por organizaciones delictivas, ¿correcto?
No sé.
I don't know that.
I think he's being truthful here.
No tiene ni idea, nada de...
No.
No.
And you said you don't engage in drug smuggling, right?
Y usted dijo que usted no participa en tráfico de drogas, ¿correcto?
No.
No.
And you don't engage in human smuggling either, right?
Tampoco no participa en tráfico de personas, ¿correcto?
No.
No.
But you also admit that you did engage in drug smuggling before, correct?
Pero a la vez usted reconoce que en algún momento usted sí participó en tráfico de drogas antes, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
So you do engage in drug smuggling sometimes.
Entonces a veces sí participa en tráfico de drogas.
You answered the question?
¿Puede contestar la pregunta?
¿Cómo no?
I'm sorry, no.
The question is, you do sometimes participate in drug smuggling, correct?
La pregunta es si es correcto que usted a veces participa en tráfico de drogas, ¿sí?
Nomás una vez.
Just once.
So you have participated in drug smuggling, correct?
Entonces sí han participado en el tráfico de drogas, ¿correcto? Correct.
And you didn't have to do that, correct?
Y no tenía que hacer eso, ¿correcto? No.
You did that voluntarily, correct?
Usted lo hizo de su propia voluntad, ¿correcto? Yes.
You decided, I don't have this $2,500, so I'll carry drugs instead. You made that decision, right?
Entonces usted decidió que no tenía los $2,500 y que en vez de pagar usted iba a llevar a las drogas y fue una decisión que usted tomó, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
And on that occasion, did you just go up to the border and somebody offered this opportunity to you?
Y en esa ocasión usted nada más llegó a la frontera y alguien le ofreció esa oportunidad.
Sí.
Yes.
And you took it?
Y usted tomó la oportunidad. Yes.
You said in the beginning of the day, and before I leave that question, you have done some previous interviews in this case, is that correct?
Usted dijo que al principio del día, bueno, antes de hacer esa pregunta, usted dijo que sí había hecho usted algunas entrevistas antes, ¿correcto? Sobre este incidente, ¿correcto? Yes.
Do you remember meeting with a Detective Rodriguez from the County Attorney's Office?
¿Usted se acuerda que se reunió con un detective Rodríguez de la oficina de la Fiscalía del Condado?
Sí.
Yes.
And that was in February of 2023?
Y eso sucedió en febrero del año 2023.
Sí.
Yes.
And do you remember Detective Rodriguez asking you, or somebody in that interview asking you, have you ever transported drugs into the United States? Do you recall being asked that question?
¿Y usted se acuerda que el detective Rodríguez le preguntó a usted, o que alguien le preguntó a usted durante esta entrevista, si en algún momento usted había trasladado drogas a los Estados Unidos? ¿Usted se acuerda que le hicieron a usted esa pregunta?
Sí.
Yes.
You have no objection to the question or the answer, but what page is she referring to on the prior interview?
I'm not referring to the page right now.
Okay.
And when you were asked that question, have you ever transported drugs into the United States? Your answer was no. Do you recall that?
Ahora, cuando le hicieron esa pregunta, si en algún momento usted había transportado drogas a los Estados Unidos, la respuesta que usted dio en ese momento fue no. ¿Se acuerda de eso?
I'm going to object. If she's going to impeach the witness, I'd like to have a page number for the interview that she's referring to.
I don't think that's the basis for an objection, Your Honor.
Overruled.
Judge wants the page number.
So you can answer the question. You stated when you were asked that question, your answer was no, correct?
Ahora sí puede usted contestar la pregunta. Entonces, cuando ellos le hicieron esa pregunta, usted declaró, usted dio como respuesta no, ¿correcto? No.
No, you did not say no to the question?
English is so confusing.
You'd have to rephrase that without a double or triple negative.
Sure.
Otherwise, we'll just get
Your response when you were asked, have you ever transported drugs in the United States? You responded to the detective, right?
La respuesta que usted dio cuando le preguntaron si en algún momento usted ha trasladado drogas a los Estados Unidos, y usted sí dio una respuesta al detective, ¿correcto? No.
Okay. Give me one moment.
Now we get the page number. And this is going to be difficult. We're going to have a transcription in English to present to the witness who has a 6th grade education and speaks Spanish, to confront him with a prior inconsistent statement. This is probably one of the messiest attempts at impeaching the witness that we've ever seen, all through a translator. I will say the witness describing the process of crossing the border
You were
seems
asked
real. Seems very
by
real.
Detective Rodriguez, or during this interview with Detective Rodriguez, they asked you, have you transported drugs into the United States? They asked you that question. Do you recall them asking you that question?
El detective Rodríguez le preguntó durante la entrevista, le preguntaron si usted en algún momento había trasladado drogas a Estados Unidos. ¿Usted se acuerda que le hicieron esa pregunta? I don't remember.
You don't remember them asking you that question?
No se acuerda usted que ellos le hicieron esa pregunta. No.
You just told me yes when I asked you the same question a couple questions ago. You told me yes. You remember them asking you that question.
Usted acaba de decirme sí cuando yo le hice esa pregunta hace unas preguntas que usted me dijo que sí se acordaba que ellos le hicieron esa pregunta.
But now you're telling me no, you don't remember them asking you that question.
Pero ahora está diciéndome que no se acuerda que ellos le hicieron esa pregunta.
There's no question there.
Is that correct?
Es cierto. I don't remember.
Okay, so you're changing your testimony now, and now you're saying, I don't remember this detective asking me this question.
Ahora usted está cambiando su testimonio en este momento porque ahora está diciendo que no se acuerda que el detective le hizo esa pregunta.
Is that what's happening right now?
Es lo que está pasando en este momento, señor. I don't remember.
So you're changing your testimony, and now your testimony is that you don't remember. Is that right?
Usted está cambiando su testimonio. El testimonio de este momento es que no se acuerda, ¿cierto? Yes.
Okay. That interview that you did at the county attorney's office, that was recorded. Were you aware of that?
Esa entrevista que usted hizo en la oficina de la Fiscalía del Condado, esa entrevista fue grabada. ¿Usted se acuerda de eso? ¿Estaba usted consciente de eso?
Sí.
Yes.
And that recording was transcribed. Do you know what that is?
Y después la grabación se hizo una transcripción. ¿Usted sabe qué quiere decir eso? No.
What that means is all of the words that were said in that recording were written down.
Lo que quiere decir es que todas las palabras que se dijeron en la entrevista se escribieron en un documento.
And they were written down in Spanish.
Y las palabras estaban escritas todo en español.
And then they were translated.
Y luego fueron traducidas.
If I showed you a copy of that transcript with those written down words on it, would that help you remember?
Si yo le mostrara una copia de esa
no
transcripción con esas palabras ya escritas, le ayudaría a recordar. I don't know.
Let's give it a try.
Vamos a intentarlo.
And this is exhibit.
Yeah.
Let me put this in front of the counsel table on witness.
So this is the impeachment. This is page numbers.
Yes, for the witness.
Specifically, she's getting at his answer before when he was under oath and he said he did not smuggle drugs into the country. And then we found out afterwards that not only did he, but he served time for it. This feels wrong. I honestly feel like this witness does not understand the questions. Like the words are making sense and he's trying to answer them best he can, but like the meaning of the question, he's missing it.
I believe this is defense exhibit S, but I will double check on that. Can you see it? Okay. Can you see that document that's in front of you?
¿Puede ver ese documento que tiene ante usted? ¿Lo ve?
Sí.
Bien.
And are you able to read the portions that are in Spanish?
¿Y puede leer las partes que están en español?
Sí.
Yes.
And specifically, I'm looking at page 12. Do you see the number 12 right there?
Específicamente estoy viendo la página 12. Ve ahí usted la página 12. ¿Qué dice el 12?
12, no, 12.
You can't see page
There
12.
is no 12.
You don't see the page number that says 12.
No ve el número de página que dice 12. ¿Sí lo ve?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay. Right above that, there's a number 22, so it's showing you line 22. Do you see that?
Arribita de eso viene el número 22. ¿Ve dónde está ahí la oración que con el número
Sí.
22? Yes.
And can you read the question that is on the page right there?
Y puede leer esa pregunta que está en esa
Sí.
página. Yes.
And is that question, have you transported drugs into the United States?
Y esa pregunta dice, ¿has transportado drogas a los Estados Unidos?
Sí. No.
What did he say?
But it says no.
So the question that was asked to you was, have you transported drugs into the United States?
Pero la
Correct.
pregunta que le hicieron a usted dice, ¿has transportado drogas a los Estados Unidos? Eso es lo que dice la pregunta.
Sí.
Yes.
And your response was no.
Y su respuesta fue no. Yes.
And that was not true, was it?
Pero eso no era cierto, ¿verdad?
No.
No.
We can take that.
That was impeachment.
So you told something to the investigators in this case that was not true. Is that correct?
Entonces usted le dijo algo a los investigadores que no era cierto, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Yes.
You lied to the investigators in this case, correct?
Usted le mintió a los investigadores en este caso, ¿verdad?
No fue una mentira, sino que, pues, como me preguntó que si en el momento que había sido de los disparos, que si lo cargaba droga, yo dije que no, fue una investigación.
Well, it wasn't a lie. When he was asking me if I had carried drugs during the time of the shooting, well, that's when I said no.
Good answer. Good
Let's
answer
take a
for the
look at
witness.
that transcript again. Can we put that up in front of him again?
Vamos a ver la transcripción de nuevo.
He's basically saying, I didn't
You
lie
still see
then.
it?
I thought I was being asked about when the
sorry.
shooting
Ahí
happened.
la ve. ¿Ya la puede ver? Yes.
So you're saying that this was not a lie, this was a misunderstanding, is that right?
Entonces usted está diciendo que esto fue una mentira, fue un malentendido, ¿es
Sí.
correcto? Yes.
Because you're saying he was asking you if you transported drugs into the United States on this occasion with Gabriel, is that right?
Porque usted dice que usted entendió que le estaba preguntando si había transportado drogas en esta ocasión en el incidente con Gabriel, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Yes.
But that's not what the detective asked you, correct?
Pero eso no fue lo que el detective le preguntó, ¿verdad?
No, pero yo eso fue lo que yo me imaginé que me estaba preguntando.
No, but that's what I thought. I imagined. I figured that's what he was asking.
So that's not what he was asking, but that's what you imagined he was asking you.
Entonces, eso no fue lo que él le estaba preguntando, pero eso es lo que usted imaginó que le estaba
Sí.
preguntando. Yes.
We're for justice.
Prior
That's
to
all.
being
We don't know where it
asked
is
this
yet.
question, have you transported drugs into the United States? You were asked questions about crossing previously into the United States. Is that correct?
Antes de que le preguntaran, de que le hicieran la pregunta de que si había transportado drogas a los Estados Unidos, antes de eso le habían estado preguntando de otras, que había cruzado otras veces a los Estados Unidos, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Yes.
And those were general questions, right?
Y esas eran preguntas muy generales, ¿verdad? Yes.
They were asking you about all of the times that you'd previously crossed into the United States, correct?
Le estaban preguntando de todas las veces que había cruzado los Estados Unidos, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Yes.
And you were answering them in general, right? About all of the times that you had crossed into the United States, correct?
Y usted estaba contestando en general sobre todas esas veces que había cruzado los Estados Unidos, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Yes.
And then right after that, they asked you, have you transported drugs into the United States? And you're telling us that you believed they meant on this particular occasion only. Is that right?
Entonces le están haciendo así las preguntas y luego llegan a la pregunta que si había cruzado drogas y usted está diciendo ahorita que pensó que se referían a este incidente en particular.
Sí.
Yeah.
We can take that down. I want to go to January 30th now, and I want to ask you some specific questions about that date, okay?
Ahora, quiero que vayamos al 30 de enero. Le voy a hacer unas preguntas específicas de ese día. ¿Está bueno? Okay.
You said you arrived at around 12 o'clock to cross into Mexico. Is that right?
Usted dijo que llegaron aproximadamente a las 12 del mediodía para cruzar la frontera.
Sí.
¿Correcto? Yes.
And just to be specific, you just went to the end of the wall and you waited for a guide to show up. Is that right?
Entonces, específicamente usted está diciendo que fueron ahí a donde está el final del muro y ahí esperaron a que llegara el guía.
Sí.
¿Es correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
And you brought $2,500 in cash with you, correct?
Y usted traía $2,500 en efectivo ahí con usted.
Sí.
Yes.
And you waited until somebody showed up and said, I'm a guide, I can take you across. Is that correct?
Y ustedes esperaron, usted esperó ahí hasta que llegó alguien y dijo, yo soy el guía para cruzar a los Estados Unidos.
Sí.
Yes.
And you're saying that that is a person by the name of El Cholo. Is that right?
Y usted dice que esta es una persona a la que le llaman el Cholo, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
And you didn't know that person?
¿Y usted no conocía a esta persona? No.
Never seen him before?
¿Nunca lo había visto antes?
No.
No.
And you handed him $2,500 in cash.
Y usted le dio a él $2,500 en efectivo.
Welcome, Foxes and Megan.
Yes.
What did he do with it?
¿Qué hizo él con él?
No sé.
I don't know.
You put it in his hands, right?
Usted se lo dio a él en las manos, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Yes.
And he took it, right?
Y él lo tomó, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Yes.
Did you see him put it somewhere?
¿Usted vio que él lo pusiera, lo guardara en alguna parte?
No. Le echó a su bolsa.
He put it in his bag.
What bag?
¿En qué bolsa?
En la bolsa del pantalón.
His pocket in his pants.
So he put it in his pocket.
Se lo puso en la bolsa del pantalón.
Sí.
Yes.
He didn't put it in a bag.
No lo puso en una bolsa.
No, su bolsa. Yo miré que nomás en su bolsa.
I just saw that he put it in the pocket.
Just for my own clarification, I'm hearing the word bolsa to describe both pocket and bag. Is there some way we could distinguish those? I don't know. Okay.
This is the interpreter speaking. When he refers to bolsa, he's talking about the pocket in his pants. I can try and come up with another word, but first the bolsa was a bag, but he's motioning to the pocket in his pants.
Okay, I think we can figure it out. Sorry about that. So, $2,500 in cash. Do you remember how many bills you have?
$2,500 en efectivo. ¿Usted se acuerda cuántos billetes traía?
Eran de 20. No sé.
It was $20 bills. I don't know how many.
So you had $20 bills that formed $2,500. Is that correct?
Entonces usted traía billetes de $20.
Sí.
Y era un total de $2,500, ¿verdad?
It's 125.
Yes.
It's quite a
A
wad.
pretty thick stack.
Este es un bonchecito medio grueso.
Like this?
Sí.
Yes.
That's how thick the stack of money was that you handed to El Cholo?
Así de grueso era el bonche que usted le dio a El Cholo.
Sí.
Yes.
And he put this stack of bills in his pants pocket?
Y él puso ese bonche de dinero en la bolsa del pantalón.
Sí, nomás de hecho ahí salió y ya luego siguió.
Yes, he just put it there and then we started following him.
And how many people were with you when you started to follow El Cholo?
¿Cuántas personas iban a ir con ustedes cuando ustedes empezaron a seguir al Cholo?
9.
9.
Is that including El Cholo?
9 incluyendo al Cholo.
Sí.
Yes.
And you didn't see any of those other people hand El Cholo any bills?
¿Y usted no vio que ninguna otra de esas personas le diera al Cholo dinero o billetes? No.
I believe you said in your testimony that you jumped the fence to come into the United States. Is that right?
Creo que usted dijo anteriormente en su testimonio que ustedes habían brincado el cerco. ¿Es correcto?
No.
Para entrar a los Estados Unidos.
No, era por el lado del muro.
No,
I
it
went
was on
around.
the side of the wall.
Describe how you crossed into the United States.
Descríbame cómo cruzó a los Estados Unidos.
Al final del muro,
Went
At
around
the
the
end
wall.
of the wall,
Did you have to go through anything to get from Mexico into the United States? Was there any sort of barrier there?
usted tuvo que atravesar algo a la hora de cruzar de México a los Estados Unidos. ¿Había alguna barrera o algo ahí? Railing.
There's railings there. Okay. Is there anything else that you have to go through besides railings?
Hay rieles ahí, pero hay algo más que tienen que atravesar aparte de rieles.
no.
No.
Did you go over the rails or under the rails?
¿Usted pasó por encima de los rieles o por abajo de los rieles?
Sí.
Over.
So you climbed over the rails.
Entonces usted se trepó por encima de
No
los
están altos.
rieles. They're not tall.
So you climbed over them.
Entonces pasó por encima de ellos.
Sí.
Yes.
And I know your testimony today is that El Cholo is the person who's guiding this group. Is that right?
Entonces su testimonio el día de hoy es que el Cholo es el guía, es quien está guiando a este grupo, ¿verdad? Yes.
Do you remember speaking with Detective Barba and Sheriff Hathaway about this case?
¿Usted recuerda haber hablado con el detective Barba y con el sheriff Hathaway sobre este caso? Yes.
Was that around February 15th of 2023?
Fue alrededor más o menos del 15 de febrero del 2023.
Sí.
Yes.
Do you remember telling Detective Barba and Sheriff Hathaway that Gabriel was the guy?
¿Usted recuerda haberle dicho al detective Barba y al sheriff Hathaway que Gabriel era el guía?
No.
No.
You never said that to them?
¿Usted nunca le dijo eso a ellos?
No.
No.
So if either Detective Barba or Sheriff Hathaway come in and testify, and if they say that you did tell them that Gabriel was the guy, they're not correct about that, right?
Entonces, si el detective Barba o el sheriff Hathaway vienen a dar testimonio aquí y ellos dicen que usted había dicho que Gabriel era el guía, entonces no es correcto lo que están diciendo. ¿No?
You were going to look for work when you were crossing, is that right?
Usted iba a ir a buscar trabajo cuando cruzara, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Yes.
You're saying that you were going to go to Phoenix, is that right, and work in Phoenix? That was the plan?
Usted dijo que iba a Phoenix y iba a trabajar en Phoenix, que ese era el plan.
Sí.
Yes.
And did you tell that to El Cholo, or did El Cholo show up and say, we're going to Phoenix? How did you pick the destination that you're going?
Y ¿Usted le dijo al Cholo que quería ir a Phoenix? ¿O el Cholo llegó y le dijo vamos a ir a Phoenix? ¿O cómo fue que escogió el destino a donde iba a ir?
No, porque donde ellos los dejan, pues ya no sé yo después qué iba a hacer.
Where they drop us off and then I don't know what else they were going to do.
How did you know you were going to go to Phoenix if you don't know where you're going to be dropped off?
¿Cómo sabía usted que iba a ir a Phoenix si no sabía dónde lo iban a ir a dejar?
Porque iba a buscar la manera.
Because I was going to find the way.
You didn't know where you were going to be dropped off?
No sabían a dónde usted no sabía dónde lo iban a ir a dejar.
No sabíamos a dónde los iba a dejar él.
We didn't know where he was going to drop us off.
So you show up and you pay El Cholo $2,500 to take you somewhere, but you don't know where that is.
Entonces usted llega, le paga al Cholo $2,500 y no sabe ni siquiera dónde lo va a ir a
No vas
dejar.
por cruzarlo.
That's just to cross.
How far are you going to go?
¿Qué tan lejos va a llegar?
No sé cuánto. Íbamos a caminar 2 días.
I don't know. We were going to walk 2 days, 3 days, I don't know.
El Cholo told you were going to walk for 2 or 3 days to get somewhere?
El Cholo le dijo que iban a caminar de 2 a 3 días para llegar a algún lugar.
Sí.
Yes.
And you have no idea where that is, though?
Usted no tiene idea dónde ir.
No.
No.
And when you get to where you're going, do you have any idea if that's somebody who's going to pick you up in a car, if that's a house? What idea do you have about where you're going to go?
Y cuando usted va a llegar ahí, lo van a recoger, tiene idea si va a un carro por usted, si va a ir a una casa.
No.
¿Qué idea tenía usted de a dónde iba?
No sabía. Que si un carro o casa, no sé.
I don't know. I
Doesn't know if
didn't
it's
know
a
if
car
my
or a
car or a house. I don't know.
So you had no idea about that either?
No tenía idea de eso tampoco.
No.
No.
Did you bring enough food and water for 2 days?
¿Traía usted comida y agua suficiente para 2 o 3 días?
Sí.
Yes.
You had food and water with you when you crossed?
¿Usted traía comida y agua cuando cruzó?
Sí.
Yes.
And that was enough, you say, for 2 or 3 days. Is that correct?
Y era suficiente usted dice para 2 o 3 días, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
How much water did you carry with you?
¿Cuánta agua traía?
6 litros.
6 liters.
You carried 6 liters of water with you personally?
Usted personalmente traía 6 litros de agua.
Sí.
Yes.
Was that in a backpack?
En una mochila.
Sí.
Yes.
Was that in a camouflage backpack?
En una mochila camuflajeada.
Sí.
Yes.
You carried a camouflage backpack, is that correct?
Usted traía una mochila color camuflaje, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
With 6 liters of water in it, right?
Con 6 litros de agua dentro de la
Sí.
mochila, ¿verdad? Yes.
Did anything happen to that water?
Algo le pasó a esta agua.
Sí.
Yes.
What happened to it?
¿Qué le pasó?
La tiré cuando miramos la borda del patrón, tiré la mochila.
When I saw the border patrol, I threw it away. I threw away the backpack when we saw the border patrol.
So you dropped your backpack and you ran when you saw Border Patrol, is that right?
Entonces usted tiró la mochila
La comida.
cuando vio al border patrol.
Sí, porque ya no podía.
Yes, because I couldn't anymore.
Did you have any other bag with you, like a fanny pack or something like that?
¿Usted traía alguna otra bolsa, una cangurera o algo así?
No.
No.
What about Gabriel? What was he carrying?
Y con referencia a Gabriel, ¿qué es que él llevaba?
Su mochila.
Backpack,
Camouflage backpack?
también de color camuflaje.
Sí.
Yes.
Was it the same as yours, more or less?
La misma mochila que usted traía, más o menos.
Sí.
Yes.
Other members of the group, are they also carrying backpacks?
Los otros miembros del grupo también llevaban mochilas.
Sí.
Yes.
Camouflage backpacks?
También de color camuflaje.
Sí.
Yes.
Is Gabriel carrying any other bag with him?
¿Llevaba alguna otra bolsa, Gabriel?
Los demás, no, unos los miraron, otros no.
The other ones, some saw it and some saw. Interpreters may require repetition. ¿Gabriel tenía alguna otra mochila?
No.
¿Alguna otra bolsa? Digo.
No más lo que llevaba.
No, just the one that he had.
So he had a backpack that he's carrying on his back, is that correct?
O sea, tenía una mochila que él está llevando en la espalda, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
Is he carrying any other bag?
¿Lleva alguna otra bolsa?
No me fijé. No sé.
I don't know, I didn't notice.
You don't know if he's carrying a fanny pack?
Usted no sabe si él estaba llevando una cangurera.
No.
No.
Do you remember what Gabriel was wearing?
¿Usted se acuerda de qué ropa traía Gabriel?
Un pantalón así, como este color casi khaki.
A pair of pants like these, this color, almost khaki.
Camisa como así también igual, camuflaje también.
And a shirt that was the same camouflage
Camouflage.
also.
A camouflage shirt?
Camisa color camouflage.
Sí.
Yes.
Had you ever seen Gabriel wear those same clothes on other occasions?
En algún momento, en alguna otra ocasión, lo había visto a Gabriel vestido de esa ropa.
No.
No.
I don't know how effective the impeachment was for this on cross, but I think just the difficulty in understanding and communicating with each other may be enough for the jury to have a difficult time doing much with the testimony from this witness.
Okay.
¿Está bien?
Sí.
And I've just drawn a T in the middle of that paper.
Y he dibujado una T en medio del papel.
Sí.
Yes.
Can we say that this up here is north?
Podemos decir que aquí en la parte superior de la T es norte.
Sí.
Yes.
Can you draw an N up here to show that that's north?
Puede escribir una N ahí arriba para mostrar que es norte.
Can you show me where south is?
Me puede mostrar dónde está el sur.
That's north, where's south?
Si ahí estamos hablando del norte, ¿dónde está el sur?
And there's an S for south.
Y luego usted acaba de poner una S para el sur, ¿correcto?
She's asking if he knows his
Can
directions.
you show me where east is?
Me puede mostrar por dónde se ubica este.
This is risky.
That's east.
Es este.
And can you show me where west is?
Y también me puede mostrar por dónde es oeste.
He got him wrong.
Can you put a W where west is?
Puede escribir una W por dónde es oeste.
Unless the paper's upside down, I think he got him backwards, which would actually help prove the state's case.
You can't put a W where west is.
No puede escribir una W por dónde es oeste.
That's west.
Oeste.
Can you put an E where east is?
Puede poner una E por dónde es este.
Okay, now he got him right.
Smart.
It's going to be marked as an exhibit or. This is important because he's reported that certain things happened east or west of a known location. So if his directions are backwards, now she's going to put it up on the Elmo. We might get to see this. There's court tomorrow, yes. Thursday
So
and
can we
Friday.
have the witness take a look at this? And this is defense exhibit BBB.
Can you read repetition on the number?
Defense exhibit BBB.
This witness is Daniel Ramirez. He was a friend of the victim. Says he was there when Gabriel got shot.
Yes.
And this is what you just drew, is that correct?
Y este papel es lo que usted acaba de dibujar, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
And this N right here symbolizes north, is that right?
Y el N que está aquí es el norte, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
The S here is for south, right?
La S representa sur, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
Then we have west over here
Y luego oeste aquí
and east over here,
y este aquí,
correct?
¿correcto? Yes.
Your Honor, I move to admit defense exhibit BBB.
Okay.
BBB is
Permission to publish that too.
Now we get to see on the big screen. That's looks proper to me. North, south, east, west. All the directions are correct.
When you crossed, you said you meet up at the end of the wall and then you go over the wall, is that right?
Cuando usted cruzó, usted dijo que se reunió, que llegaron, ustedes llegaron juntos y luego cruzaron, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
Was that east or west of Nogales?
¿Fue este o oeste de Nogales?
Al sur.
To the south.
Where were you in relation to Nogales? Were you west or were you east?
¿Dónde estaba usted en relación a Nogales? ¿Estaba al oeste de la ciudad o al este de la ciudad?
Al este.
To the east.
To the east. Do you remember being asked the same question previously when you spoke with Detective Rodriguez at the County Attorney's Office?
¿Usted se acuerda que le hicieron esta misma pregunta anteriormente cuando usted habló con el detective Rodríguez de la oficina de la Fiscalía del Condado?
No me acuerdo.
I don't remember.
Would it help to look at that transcript again?
¿Le ayudaría a ver esa transcripción otra vez?
I guess that was rhetorical.
And Valeria, can we pull up, or just show the witness and counsel table what I'm looking at? Do you see that document on the screen?
Señor, usted ve el documento que está en la pantalla.
Sí.
Yes. And can you read what's written there in Spanish?
Y puede leer lo que está escrito ahí en español.
Sí.
Yes.
And do you see a question where he says, is it to the west or and then the answer says west? Do you see that?
Usted ve que hay una pregunta donde se pregunta si es al oeste o y luego la respuesta es oeste. ¿De eso?
Sí.
Yes.
And then a little bit further down, you're asked again, west for clarification, right?
Y luego, si usted ve un poquito más abajo, le preguntan otra vez para aclarar oeste, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
And you told Detective Rodriguez in this interview that this took place west of Nogales. Is that correct?
Usted le dijo al detective Rodríguez en esta entrevista que usted puso en un lugar oeste de Nogales, ¿cierto?
Sí.
Yes.
And you also testified at a hearing in this case where you also stated that this took place west of Nogales. Do you recall that?
Y también usted testificó en una audiencia que se trataba también de este caso donde usted declaró que cruzó en el lugar oeste de Nogales. ¿Se acuerda de eso? I don't remember.
You don't remember?
No se acuerda.
If another witness who heard your testimony said that you told the court that this happened west of Nogales, would that witness be telling the truth or would they be making that up?
Ahora si este otro testigo escuchara, sí, perdón, introducing start over, si otro, otra persona, otro testigo que presenciaba, escuchó que usted dio testimonio diciendo que usted le dijo al juez en esa audiencia que usted había pasado en un lugar oeste a Nogales, ¿sería la verdad o estaría inventando este otro testigo? The truth.
So it's possible that you said that this took place west of Nogales at a previous hearing where you testified in this case.
Entonces, es posible que usted dijo en una audiencia anterior que se trataba de este caso, que usted dijo que cruzó oeste de Nogales. Yes?
Valeria, we can take that. Thanks. Now today you're saying that this happened east of Nogales. Is that correct?
Ahora hoy usted está diciendo que esto sucedió al este de Nogales, ¿cierto?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay. So you've changed. Previously, twice, you stated this took place west of Nogales. Today you're saying this took place east of Nogales.
Entonces está cambiando su declaración. Dos veces anteriormente usted dijo que usted cruzó oeste de Nogales y hoy está diciendo que cruzó este de Nogales. ¿Correcto? Yes.
When you crossed with this group was all men. Is that correct?
Cuando usted cruzó con este grupo, el grupo se trataba de puros hombres, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay. There weren't any women in this group.
No había mujeres en el
No.
grupo. No.
You didn't meet up with Gabriel before going, other than just meeting up with him at the end of the wall. Is that correct?
Usted no se reunió con Gabriel antes de irse, lo que hizo fue reunirse con él en el muro, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
So you didn't know that Gabriel was going to be there that day, correct?
Entonces usted no sabía que Gabriel iba a estar ahí ese día, ¿correcto? No, I didn't know.
And Gabriel didn't know that you were going to be there that day either. Is that correct?
Y Gabriel tampoco sabía que usted iba a estar ahí ese día, ¿correcto? No.
You didn't. Did you carry a phone with you or any communication device with you when you made this trip?
Cuando usted hizo este viaje, ¿traía algún teléfono, algún tipo de dispositivo para comunicación? No. ¿Usted?
Yo.
Did I?
Yes.
Sí, traía teléfono.
Yes, usted tenía teléfono.
Sí.
Yes, I had a phone.
You took a phone with you when you came across?
Usted se llevó el teléfono con usted cuando usted cruzó.
Sí.
Yes.
Did Gabriel bring a phone that you were aware of?
Según lo que usted sabía, tenía el teléfono Gabriel.
No.
I don't know.
You don't know?
No sabe.
No lo podíamos prender. No sabíamos si había o no había.
We weren't able to turn it on. We didn't know if there was or there wasn't a telephone.
So you didn't know if Gabriel had a phone or didn't have a phone. Is that correct?
No sabía usted si Gabriel sí tenía o no tenía teléfono, ¿es cierto?
No sé.
I don't know.
Do you recall if Gabriel was carrying a radio with him?
¿Se acuerdan si Gabriel traía con él una radio?
No.
No.
No, you don't remember. Let me ask that question again.
Voy a hacer la pregunta otra vez.
Did Gabriel have a radio with him?
¿Tenía Gabriel una radio en su persona?
No.
No.
You're sure that Gabriel was not carrying a radio, right?
¿Está seguro usted que Gabriel no llevaba radio, cierto?
No sé, no lo miré.
I don't know, I didn't see it.
So now you're saying you don't know if he had a radio or not.
Ahora está diciendo que no sabe si él sí tenía o no tenía radio. I don't know.
Was Gabriel carrying binoculars?
¿Llevaba Gabriel binoculares?
No sé.
I don't know.
Do you think you would notice if he was carrying binoculars?
¿Usted cree que se hubiera fijado usted si él sí si hubiera estado con binoculares? No.
You don't think you would notice?
¿Usted no cree que se hubieran fijado? No.
It'd be pretty odd for somebody who's just crossing for the American dream to be carrying binoculars, right?
Sería un poco extraño para alguien que está usando nada más por el sueño americano llevar binoculares, ¿cierto? I don't understand. I don't understand.
You're walking through the desert or through this area and you're anticipating walking there for 2 or 3 days, is that right?
Ahora usted está caminando por el desierto, por el monte, por el área y usted está pensando que va a estar caminando 2 o 3 días, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
And everybody's carrying water, right?
Y todo el mundo lleva agua, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
Water's pretty heavy, right?
Y el agua pesa bastante, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
It's heavy enough that you actually dropped all of it when you ran from Border Patrol, right?
Y es tan pesado que usted dejó que el agua se cayera cuando usted estaba huyendo de la Border Patrol, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
It's fair to say you're not going to take something with you on a journey like that that's going to be heavy unless you need it, right?
Está bien decir, o sea, sí se puede decir que usted no va a llevar algo en un viaje tan pesado a menos que lo necesita, ¿correcto? Yes.
So if you don't need a pair of binoculars, you're probably not going to bring those, is that right?
Entonces, si usted no necesita binoculares, a lo mejor no los va a llevar, ¿correcto?
Correct. Do you remember if El Cholo had any binoculars?
¿Usted se acuerda si el Cholo llevaba binoculares?
No.
I didn't know.
You don't know. Do you know if El Cholo was carrying a radio?
¿Sabe si el Cholo llevaba radio?
No sé si
I don't know if he was carrying one or not. I don't know.
And you don't know if anybody was communicating on the radio, is that right?
Y no sabe usted si alguien se estaba comunicando por radio, ¿verdad?
No.
No, I don't know.
You recall testifying at a preliminary hearing and stating that Gabriel was not carrying a radio. Do you recall that?
¿Usted se acuerda que usted dio testimonio en una audiencia preliminar donde usted declaró donde dijo que Gabriel no llevaba radio? ¿Se acuerda de eso?
No llevaba.
He didn't have one. He wasn't carrying one.
That's what you testified to before, too. Is that right?
Y eso es lo que usted testificó también antes, ¿correcto?
Uh-huh. You say there are a number of people in this group, and they're all men. I think we talked about that. Was Gabriel the only person in this group that you knew?
Ahora hemos mencionado que había varias personas en el grupo, que el grupo estaba formado por los hombres, y Gabriel fue la única persona en el grupo que usted conocía.
Sí.
Yes.
You didn't know anybody else in this group. Is that right?
Usted no conocía a nadie más en el grupo, ¿correcto? Yes.
You gave an interview where you talked to Detective Barba and Sheriff Hathaway. We've talked about.
Pardon me. I think the witness just said the opposite of what the translator said, so can we just go back and clarify that?
What?
Sorry.
Question was, you say there were a number of people in this group, they were all men, who talked about that. Was Gabriel the only person in this group that you knew? He said yes. you didn't know anybody else in that group, is that right? He says yes.
Can we re-ask that question? Because I actually heard the witness say something other than the interpreter said that. Perhaps I'm
I don't
wrong.
think he said correct, but you can ask the question again. I think she said yes when I said correct. Why don't you ask the question again?
You didn't know anybody in this group besides Gabriel, right?
Usted no conocía a nadie en este grupo aparte de Gabriel,
No,
¿verdad?
no.
No.
Okay. When you spoke with Detective Barba and Sheriff Hathaway, you told them that you did know somebody else in the group. Is that correct?
Cuando usted habló con el detective Barba y con el sheriff Hathaway, usted le dijo que sí conocía a alguien más en este grupo, ¿verdad?
No.
No.
So they never asked you, do you know someone named Ramon? Ramon. They never asked you if you knew somebody named Ramon.
Entonces ellos nunca le preguntaron si usted conocía un Ramón. Ellos nunca le preguntaron
Me
si usted
preguntaron,
conocía
sí me
a
preguntaron, pues,
Acuérdese que ellos nunca le preguntaron a usted si usted conocía a un Ramón.
sí me preguntaron.
They did ask me.
So they asked you if you knew who Ramon was, right?
Ellos le preguntaron que si usted sabía quién era Ramón.
Sí me preguntaron.
They did ask me.
And you told them that he was part of the group, that you knew him, right?
Y usted les contestó que que sí era parte del grupo, que lo conocía.
Que lo conocían, ¿no?
Not that I knew him.
You said that he was in that group with you. Is that correct?
Usted dijo que sí era parte de ese grupo, ¿correcto?
Escuché que mentaban.
I said that I heard that they were called at me.
You said that you heard somebody who was in the group who was with you was called that name.
Usted dice que usted escuchaba que a alguien de los que iba con usted en ese grupo le llamaban por ese nombre.
Mentaban, sí.
Yes, that's what they call him.
That's what who called him.
¿Quién le mentaba ese nombre?
Los muchachos que iban ahí, pero no, ya tampoco los muchachos conocidos.
The guys that were there, but I didn't know the guys either.
Okay, so this is somebody that you didn't know from before, but when you travel, you're traveling together, so he was with you in the group.
Entonces, esta es una persona a la que usted no conoce de antes, pero cuando van en el grupo juntos, esa es una persona a la que usted conoce ahí en el grupo.
Sí, ahí sí. Sí.
Yes, there, yes.
In that meeting with Detective Barba and Sheriff Hathaway, they never showed you any photographs of other people. Is that correct?
En esa junta con el detective y con el sheriff, ellos no le enseñaron a ustedes ninguna fotografía, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Yes.
They showed you photographs?
Le enseñaron fotos.
Sí.
Yes.
And I'm asking specifically about the meeting you had with Sheriff Hathaway and Detective Barba in February of 2023.
Y estoy hablando específicamente de la junta que tuvo usted con el detective Barba, con el sheriff Hathaway.
Now he's looking at the
en
prosecution
febrero
table.
del 2023.
They showed you pictures at that meeting.
Le enseñaron unas fotos en esa junta.
Sí.
Yes.
Oh.
And this is a meeting that took place in Mexico. Is that correct?
Y esta es la junta que se llevó a cabo en México, ¿correcto? Yes.
And you're saying in that meeting in Mexico, you remember Sheriff Hathaway and or Detective Barba showing you photographs.
Y usted dice que en esa junta que se dio en México, usted recuerda que el sheriff Hathaway o el detective Barba le enseñaron unas fotos.
Sí.
Yes.
What were the photographs of?
¿De qué eran esas fotografías?
De personas a ver si las conocía, pero no las conocía, ni eran de aquí.
No. Of people, if I knew these people, but they weren't in the group.
Right.
Now, I think you might be getting your dates confused a little bit. somebody showed you photographs on August 21st of 2023. Does that sound about right?
Creo que se está confundiendo un poquito con las fechas. Alguien le enseñó una foto. This is the interpreter speaking, Your Honor. Somebody showed him some pictures in August.
August 21st of 2023.
Alguien le enseñó a usted unas fotografías de una junta el 21 de agosto del 2023, ¿verdad?
Sí,
Yes.
una vez me enseñaron una.
What? They only showed me one time.
And that was a different meeting from the meeting you had with Sheriff Hathaway and Detective Barba in Mexico. Is that right?
Y esa fue una junta diferente a la que usted tuvo con el Sheriff Hathaway y el detective Barba, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay. So I want to go back to when you cross and you're with the group. I believe you said you'd run into Border Patrol and everybody scatters. Is that right?
Ahora, quiero regresar a cuando usted iba cruzando con el grupo. Usted dijo que se encontraron con el Border Patrol y entonces todos se salieron corriendo.
Sí.
Yes.
Do you know where you are when you run into Border Patrol?
¿Usted sabe dónde está cuando se encuentran con el Border Patrol?
Se llama la carretera, nomás le escuchamos que el chorro lo gritó y dijo, viene la migra por la Washington y ya.
All I heard is that Cholo screamed that the Border Patrol is coming and that we're in Washington. And that's it.
So El Cholo says the Border Patrol's coming.
Entonces el Cholo dice que ahí viene la border.
Sí.
Yes.
And we are at Washington.
Y dijo, estamos en Washington.
Sí.
Yes.
Do you know what Washington is?
¿Usted sabe lo que es Washington? No?
Okay, so you don't know what El Cholo means when he says we're at Washington.
Entonces cuando el Cholo dice estamos en Washington, usted no sabe a qué se refiere.
No.
No.
Did you see Border Patrol?
¿Usted vio la Border Patrol?
Nomás le escuchamos que iba a pasar.
No, we just heard that they were passing by.
What did you hear?
¿Qué fue lo que escuchó?
El ruido del carro.
The sound of the car.
So you heard a car, and
Escuchó un carro.
and you believed that was Border Patrol.
Escuchó un carro y ustedes pensaron, usted piensa que era el
Que se había
Border
parado,
Patrol.
sí.
That they had stopped yet.
Was that on a road?
Era en una calle.
Sí.
Yes.
Did you start, when you crossed over at the end of the wall, did you start by traveling on a road?
Cuando cruzaron al final del muro, ustedes empezaron a caminar por una calle.
Por el monte.
On the hill.
Did you see a road at the end of the wall when you crossed?
Al final del muro, cuando cruzaron, usted vio una calle.
Sí.
Yes.
Is that the road that goes along the wall?
Esa es la calle que va a lo largo del muro.
Sí.
Yes.
Did you see other roads?
Vio otras calles.
Sí, hacia los lados. De tierra.
Dirt roads on the sides.
On the sides of what?
A los lados de qué?
A los lados del para allá, para el este, al oeste, para el frente, al sur.
On the sides going there, east, west, to the south.
Okay. And you don't know which one of these roads is the road that Border Patrol is on when El Cholo says Border Patrol's coming, do you?
Usted no sabe en cuál de estas calles o por cuál de estas calles es por donde viene la Border Patrol cuando el Cholo grita que ahí viene la Border, ¿verdad?
Ya íbamos allá ya no mirábamos las calles nomás a que íbamos a cruzar, pero dijo que la Washington.
We didn't see any more roads, just the one that we were gonna walk across, that he said it was Washington.
Okay. So you're at the place that El Cholo says that
I think this is a good place to take a noon break. I want to break a little bit early. I want to give our staff some time to work on This one.
Judge stopped mid-question.
Problem we have, I think we fixed it, but I just want to make sure. So I'm going to give you a little time before lunch to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a noon recess. Remember that by admission to the court, be back in the jury room, please, just before 1:30. I'm going to remind the witness. Reminding the witness, you're still under subpoena as a witness. You're required to be back here in the court to finish your examination by both parties. You're required to be back here to testify further at 1:30. Very well, we'll take our noon recess. We'll see you all back at 1:30. Thank you. Rise and report.
Wow. That was crazy. I've never seen a judge remind a witness that you're still under subpoena. You're required to come back. I've never seen a judge do that. But I guess this is a new process for the witness. So mid-question, full stop. The judge is like, hey, I've had enough. It's time for lunch. Good questions here. Zimmy from the bus stop. Do they have the bullet? No. Part of it? No, they do not. They have nothing, no projectile to match. They never found any of it. I just got here. Can you point out some worthy points, if any? I don't want to play rewatch. It's no fun without y'all. Angelique, this is the witness on the stand right now is Daniel Ramirez. He says he was with Gabriel when Gabriel was shot, and he has testimony about that. The problem is he's had a lot of conversations with law enforcement where his story might have changed a little bit, and it's probably a misunderstanding, I think. Let's see, I think we got Selena on the phone. Just 1 second.
Selena.
Hey, Selena, just got a moment here. Thanks for making it through. How are you doing?
Okay. Do you want me to call later on another break?
How long do you want to take? We're going to be going to lunch here.
No. Okay. I'll call back on a break because I don't want to keep you at lunch. I have a few thoughts.
Did you want to talk to everybody else or just me?
Yes. No, everyone.
Now's a good time then. What's on your mind?
Okay. I know I'm always the minority here usually in these trials. And, gosh, this one, I was kind of on the fence before today. But this witness is, to me, and I know I'm in the minority, probably. He's believable. I think he is scared and nervous and coming, across confused because of his being so nervous and scared. Starting the trial, he didn't want to be his face shown, so I know he has a stress ball in his hand. I'm just trying to put myself on the stand and think, would I act the same way? Would I get confused? Would I get mixed up? And not knowing the language 100%
right.
would even cause another issue. So I think this guy is guilty, and I'm going to go with that for now, unless some other evidence comes up to change my mind. But as far as this witness today, I just feel bad for him. There's been times that my blood pressure has gone sky high, and I've had extreme anxiety because I think, oh my gosh, she seems to be badgering him, and she's doing her job and trying to impeach him. I get that, but she's, I don't know. But anyway,
let me interject a little bit here.
Okay.
Let me interject just a minute. And thank you, first of all. So thanks
Perfect.
for sharing, especially because you feel you're in the minority. Thank you for sharing.
See, I am team minority, and I saw somebody put that on the chat. So
let me tell you this. Where I felt that this witness was most believable for me was when he was describing the process of crossing the border and what it's like to basically just walk up to the border, and you can't just go across because he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know where to go. He doesn't know when the patrols are coming through. He sort of is dependent on one of these individuals who charges a huge fee to take them across the border, and you basically can't get across without paying that. That's what we've heard. He testified differently than that, but pays $2,500 cash, a stack, $125 $20 bills in the guy's pocket. He's like, all right, let's go across, and it'll take him across. And they don't know where they're going. They don't know where they are. They don't know what is on the other side there. They're putting a lot of trust in this, and the process, it sounds terrifying, absolutely terrifying for someone who's trying to enter the U.S. But I'm not sure if I believed wholly that he didn't think there was any other way to enter the country. Like before he got to the border, he thought this is the only way into the United States. You have to pay this fee, and you run in, and you try not to get caught. That part, it.
Okay, to be the devil's advocate on that.
Yeah.
You know, I thought about that point strongly, and I think, you know, they are so desperate to come into America and have a better life, and they are told that, and they believe these people that are taking their money and are so evil, you know, to try to get them across the border over and over. They're not going to tell them that you can get there legally, and, you know, because they're getting rich off of this
Right.
10 times.
The
or whatever.
guy on the other side that's taking the $2,500 is not going to be like, oh, by the way, there's a freeway. You just have to send your papers in and hope you get the stamp, and then you're good to go. They're not going to do that.
Right.
But there are roads.
Yeah, so that's my
there are
issue.
roads. There are businesses.
There's
trucking. There's transportation. There's international commerce that takes place. And I think what I heard in his testimony is that with his conviction for carrying drugs across, he knew that there was no way for legally to get across. That's what I took away from that.
And that brings up another point that I want to talk about too. Is some in chat said, you know, he carried drugs across. Well, you know, they give him a discount to do that, and as many times as he came, I'm not saying it's right. I hate drugs coming into America. I'm an addict myself. So, but I think who wouldn't take, I mean, I can't say I wouldn't I'll take some drugs to get some off of this amount that I have to keep paying to go over and over. So, but now I think he's scared because he has had a conviction. I think you're right. I think now he has, after that happened early on in him trying to come into America, he's not going to try the legal way for that reason. That's my opinion.
Lizzie points out one thing here, Selena, that's also makes it hard to believe his story about not knowing there was another way.
Let me get on the screen. I went away because my dogs were barking. Okay, I'm back.
And that is that she says, how does his family get here? His family, who is in the U.S., is sending money to him to help him pay these illegals to get across. If they're a U.S. citizen, if they're in the U.S., the odds of them not knowing that there's a legal route to immigration, if they're here already, I mean, I'm not sure if they're legal or not. Is he saying they're here illegally and they're doing this? It's a possibility. It made it harder for me to believe that part of the story. And it's still possible there could be some miscommunication, that he's explaining where he believed at a certain time of his life instead of where he was now, or after 10 attempts across the border. But I don't know.
Right. I think, Lizzie, that's a great point. I think that, that is a possibility, but I still don't think if they were here, why would he keep trying to come so many times? I don't really, I'm just think he's so confused and so flustered and so scared that we're not even getting the real story is what I'm kind of thinking. There's more to it that's not coming out because of his anxiety and fear. And I think I didn't hear a lot about the shooting from questions from the defense attorney, which I would have liked to heard more about from her rather than just trying to impeach him on everything. She did not seem to really try to get a lot of the clarification out on that. But anyway.
Yeah, it seems like she was focused on other things first. She wanted to impeach his testimony first before he heard this. But
oh, absolutely. And I was disappointed in that. I'm like, come on, let's try to get
the state also
the facts of the case.
The state didn't.
No, they didn't. You're right. And I'm not sure why. I've been very frustrated with this witness on both sides of how they've handled him. So anyway, with that, I'm going to say go Team Minority.
Selena,
and
let me tell you,
and
on behalf of all of Team Minority, thank you for calling in. I appreciate you doing that, because oftentimes when, like you saw here in chat, if you looked, when you announced your position, many other people announced they haven't been talking in chat saying, hey, I feel the same way. So you're probably not in the small minority that you think you are. There's probably a larger group that agree with you, and I appreciate you standing up and representing them for everybody.
Yes, well, I'm hoping that this gives them, feel free to express their opinions. This chat has been, very safe with me, for me to do it. And boy, I've done it on almost every trial I've watched with you. So,
And we love you for it.
Stand up.
Thank you very much, Selena. I appreciate it. Thanks for the
I
call.
love your channel. I love being able to have this distraction in my life. And thank you. Have a good lunch.
Thank
Sorry.
you. We'll see you. Not a
kept
problem.
you. Okay,
we'll see
bye.
you later. Bye. All right, they are on lunch right now. They've gone to lunch. I think we're going to be back at an hour and 15 minutes. I think we come back, and they'll start probably 15 minutes after that. But this court takes long lunches and long breaks, and they work about 5 hours a day. So that's what we get. Let's see. I think there's a law that if you have a felony conviction, you're more likely to not get a green card. Angela, I think you're correct on that one, and I think this witness knows that he's basically no longer eligible on the legal path. But what he's doing right now could possibly bypass that and overcome that burden. Because when you testify and you help the state in one of their trials, they have the ability, there are laws on the books that allow the state to basically vouch for you and promise you a legal route, a legal access into the country as I don't want to say payment for, but in return for your cooperation in a trial. It does mean that there's a huge incentive to get him to say the right thing, and he has to cooperate. But I'm not sure if we're going to get into that or not, if that deal is in place. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, hello. Am I speaking to Dwayne?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Good day, Dwayne. By the way, my name is Abby, and I work on the fulfillment department here at Vacation Offer. How are you doing today?
I am doing good. How are you?
Okay, perfect. Well, I'm great. Thanks for asking. So now, sir, I'm calling you in regards to the large amount of travel credit that you hadn't filed us. And my job here is to close out all expired accounts. But when I saw how much travel credit you had available, I wanted to touch base with you because I'm not comfortable closing it out here without at least giving you one last opportunity to use these funds.
How much?
So
how
do
much
you
is
see
there?
yourself traveling in the near future?
Yes, I'd like to. It's very expensive right now,
perfect.
but I'd like
Glad
to.
hear that. Okay, cool. So, sir, don't worry because the great news right here is this new package offers now no expiration date, so there's no rush. Whether it takes you 6 months or 6 years, it never expires. Also, transfer fees are waived. And now, the first thing that we need to give you is going to receive a 5-day and 4-night stay in Las Vegas. Next is you will get a 5-day and 4-night stay in Orlando, Florida. And also you will get an 8-day and 7-night flex cruise with Royal Caribbean, Norwegian, or Carnival Cruise Line with many options.
Wow.
And last but not the least here is you will get we're including a 3 days and 2-night stay with your choice of over 150 cities to choose from. So, sir, it doesn't matter where you choose to go because we're going to include a round-trip airfare for two. Also, I see here that you are that all you are responsible for is a one-time booking fee. And also, I see here that you qualify for something really special.
Mm-hmm.
So please hold the line and let me see what that is, okay?
Okay. Thanks, Abby.
Okay, cool. Hold the line one moment.
Hi, Dwayne.
Yes.
How you doing? My name is Matt.
Hello. I was
I am
just talking to
actually-
Abby.
Yeah, she's one of my representatives.
Okay. She said hold on. She's going to see if I qualify for something. But then she went away.
Yeah, my name's Matt. I'm the promotions director,
Okay.
and I came on the line to further assist you.
Okay. I'm sorry. I was confused. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. So, did you like the sound of the package?
I didn't write them all down. There was, she said Las Vegas, Orlando, and there was something about a Norwegian or a cruise. It sounds cool, but I don't think I could afford that.
You couldn't afford $499 per person for 4 trips?
She didn't tell me it was $499. I thought it would be thousands.
No, I'll tell you what. Grab a pen and a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do the best I can possibly do for you with the package. All right?
Okay. All right, I'm ready.
And you do still plan on traveling, right?
Yes, she didn't name the places I wanted to go. Do you guys have anything that goes to Nashville?
On the second trip, we do.
Okay. I wanted to go to CrimeCon in Nashville. I was wondering if you had like a deal that would give you access to the convention and the trip and everything there.
What's it called?
It's called CrimeCon.
What is that?
It's a convention where a lot of the famous people who are like the TV people that cover courts, they get together. He hung up on me. He hung up on me. What? I'm trying to sell CrimeCon. Oh, it's where you commit the crimes. Oh my goodness. Look, you guys, I was being as chill as I possibly could. I was playing it quiet. I tried too hard. What do you want me to say? You guys, I'm reading chat. I will say what you want me to say within reason. But man, Matt's like, oh, CrimeCon. It's a true crime guy. Yeah, he's on to us. Court made him nervous. $495 for like 3 world tours. Yeah, let me just tell you right now, that is not happening. That is not happening. I could have said Dollywood if I want to go to Dollywood instead. He's never heard of Nashville. He spoke very good English though. Matt was great. Abby, I'm pretty sure Abby's name is not Abby. All right. Well, that being said, we've $499 per person, and the second trip goes to Nashville. I just have to go to Las Vegas first, and then I can go to Nashville. Matt sounded like he was in prison, a call center in prison. Yes, you have credits, but you have to pay. That's the whole deal. You have to pay, and you pay through the nose, and you end up paying more than you would have had you booked it through a travel agent. Am I really going to CrimeCon? I'm debating. All the cool people are going, and now I have this major FOMO going on, and I might. I'm thinking about it, but I tell you, I'm also looking at next month, just in a couple of weeks, like right when this trial's ending. There's another convention, and it is in Las Vegas, that I am a huge fan of, and it's called NAB, North American Broadcasters Convention, and it is literally, it's a nerd's daydream. It is incredible. Everything on my desk, the manufacturers for all this hardware and equipment and everything, the next thing they're coming out will be there. That's where they announce all the new products, the fancy, flashy gizmos and whatchamacallits. And I've actually got a pass already because one of the companies I do business with has gifted me a pass. I just have to get there. But anyway, let's see.
Call from
Thal. You want to be my travel partner?
Okay,
$499. $499. We can go on a trip to Las Vegas.
Okay, I know you're trying to go to lunch, so 2 seconds. That's all I got to do, okay? But I got to do it for chat. This is for chat. This is for the theme of the show. Chat, can you smell what RA is cooking, baby?
No.
It's Dwayne Recovery Addict Johnson, ladies and gentlemen. That's who is hosting our show now.
Yes.
That's who he is. That's who it is.
I tell you, I got a call from somebody who asked me if I was Dwayne Bourne or Bond. I forget what they call my last name. But just the other day, and she was like real. Her name was like Rebecca. And I said, look, Rebecca, stop for a minute. She's like, yeah, what? And she went off script. We just had a conversation. It was awesome. I'm like, look, I wish you would have called while I was live. because I'm a YouTuber. I like to put these on there. She goes into this whole, oh, this is going to be the one that goes viral, this conversation. And it was fine. I said, I'm not even recording right now. So, I can't do that. But I invited her to watch the show. I gave her the channel name. So maybe she's out there somewhere. Call in again when we're live.
I'm literally thinking of when you have one of these telemarketers, because I have the ability to do this because I'm a YouTuber also. So I know how to do this. I'm thinking of stream sniping you and recording that and then throwing that crap on Twitter and tagging you in it.
Do it.
And just putting the video on there and be like, Recovery Addict answers phone calls. You know what I mean? Just
do it.
Telemarketers out of nowhere.
As long as you don't change it to make me say things that I didn't say or do things I wouldn't do.
No. I love giving you a hard time. I love giving Chad a hard time. Yeah. Weather Watch, whatever his name is. I like giving him a hard time. But I would never do anything that would injure your personifications. Let's just say.
Yeah,
I would never do anything like that.
I like to think that is low effort content, though. It's definitely low quality content if it's just me on there.
But it's fun. I probably have a clip of you saying something like, "Okay, so the trail we're going to be covering today," and then just clip it, just instant clip, just shortcut it to the phone to you answering a telemarketer. So it almost looks like you were trying to talk to chat, and out of nowhere you get a phone call from telemarketers.
I'll tell you this. Everyone put on your aluminum foil hats for this because it's a conspiracy theory. I think that the technology behind telemarketers is much more advanced than you think it is. I think that they literally know what time of day you're most likely to answer the call, and they track that information. And when they sell your information to other people, they include that information in it. So that if we answer a call every time we go on break at lunch, that's going to be the most likely time. They say, when we call at this time, there's this many percent points higher chance of him answering the call or somebody there.
No. You can take you. No. You can take I used to work for 20 years ago. Okay, This is a true story. I used to work for Talk America. Okay,
you're saying you're one of the bad
down
guys?
in Florida. Yeah, I was one of the telemarketers. Did this for a year. I switched people to our plans. All right,
the $1,500 travel credit.
Well, yeah, something like that. But anyway, so the thing is, you can break up the hats because we already did this.
Okay.
So so if you answer the phone, right? If you don't answer the phone, I punch in my little computer. I have a computer in front of me, and this is 20 years ago. I punch in missed call, right? Mm-hmm. So now the computer knows, and it tracks, and it sells that. So it tracks whatever response I get. So if you answer the phone, there's a little button I can push that says answered the phone. If it says, if you hung up on me, I push it saying hung up on me. But it means that you track that. They're tracking all this data, and then when they go to sell it on, I talked to one of the guys that was higher up. Yeah, this happens all the time. This is standard.
Man.
20 years ago, this was standard.
Well, I just discovered
it. Hats off because that's very true.
I was today years old when I thought this up myself. So apparently, you guys have been doing it for years. But
yeah, I don't do that crap anymore. I haven't done it for 20 years. But no, 20 years ago we were doing that.
Okay, so
we were doing it all by hand. So there's probably an automated process that keeps track of it now.
But the reason that's important is that those of you who are out there is like, oh sure, we're about to go to lunch, and conveniently there's a telemarketer call. No, it's real. It's legit. This is a call because we always answer calls.
And here's the thing that can back this area up even more. Since I've started, because I was here back in the early days, but almost every time I've watched you, when I remember back in the early days, you never got these phone calls up until a point, and then you started getting them. But once you started getting them, you started getting them more and more and more and more and more frequently as time went on. So now it's just common.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're definitely tracking your stuff.
Yeah, they're reading my chats, they're reading my emails, and they're tracking my phone. So, well,
I don't know if they go that far, but
the NSA is right. We can go there. All right, Thal, thank you very much for confessing your
but
life of crime.
Remember, Scott. Remember, RA, this is Weather Watch's fault. So remember who to blame.
I will.
It's very important.
Speaking of Weather Watch, tomorrow podcast 8 p.m. It's going to be great.
There you go.
I think we got a guest lined up. Maybe I'm not sure if it's going to be this week or next, but yeah, somebody agreed to come on the show, which means they're probably uninformed. But we'll see if we can milk it for an episode and see how it goes. But anyway, Thal, good talking to you again. Have a great lunch. All right.
Yes, sir. You too.
All right. Bye. See you. Bye. All right. let's see. I think that's it. We're going to go to lunch, take a break. What was I doing before I was so rudely interrupted by that telemarketer? I don't remember. I think I was telling everybody that trial's getting a little spicy. It's a little confrontational. I'll tell you this. It doesn't feel good the way the defense is attacking this witness. He's an adult male. He sort of can handle himself, but at the same time, his understanding of the English language sort of equates him to a child a little bit in my mind. And so I don't feel good at the way she's like attacking and twisting and the little nuances of the way she twists the sentence. I don't think it translates well. And I just feel like maybe the jury's not getting the mileage she thinks she's getting by asking these questions. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. I think she has done an effective job of maybe making the jury doubt a little bit what they've heard from this witness. Not so much on the impeachment, but more on the fact that he just doesn't understand the question. And I think that's his biggest downfall to his credibility, is that his answer changes as his understanding of the question changes. So I think the jury's caught on to that. Anyway, we're going to be back in about a little over an hour, about an hour and 6 minutes. So we will we'll start the music and go to break for that. I'll put up the thumbnail for the new one here in just a minute. So give me like 2 or 3 minutes after this one ends. We'll have the new thumbnail up, and we're going to get ready for part 6 of this trial, which is actually just part 2 of day 2 of testimony. So if you're just joining us, you haven't missed very much. We can get you caught up. There's 2 more weeks worth of trial at least. So it's all good. Tonight, when you go home, please hug the people you love. Smile at someone. Make their day just a little bit better. And please stay safe till we go live again in about an hour and 5 minutes. Until then, get some great food. We'll see you back here. Everyone be kind to each other. We'll see you. Bye. Okay, the new one's going live right now. It's going live right now. Refresh. Here we go.